Are you waiting for me to say something, or am I waiting for you to say something?
Um, I feel like I'm
Okay.
waiting.
Wait.
I feel like I'm
You're
waiting
waiting
for
for.
you. I think so.
Oh. What am I? Wait. What am I supposed to say?
I don't know.
Oh.
I'm waiting till I have whatever percentage of your attention I'm going to get. I'm waiting for that to have that.
Well, I'm here. You have me. I can't play games because I'm on my laptop. I can't watch anything else because I only have one monitor. So you have me
I know.
fully 100% plugged in. Okay. It's
I know.
driving me
That's
crazy.
kind of.
All
I
right.
know. That's kind of what I was hoping for.
Okay. Well, I'm here.
Okay. I just watched your interview with Dr. K.
Oh, jeez.
I'm gonna catch myself up to speed. Okay. I feel like we have a lot to talk about.
I would hope so. I mean, you wanted to interview me, so if we had nothing to talk about, that'd be pretty fucking awkward, huh?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Um. Okay. First, I want to talk. Well, first, I want to talk about our relationship as usual.
Oh boy. Oh,
Um.
let's start off with some advice, okay?
Okay.
Stop having so many goddamn conversations, all right? Have a conversation. Stop having so many conversations about conversations. I notice
Okay.
sometimes you get
That's
really bogged down in the meta
kind of
conversation.
kind of ironic that you're saying that, but okay.
Well, because it's a meta conversation about meta conversations about
It
conversations.
is. It
It is.
is.
But,
What's your problem with that?
I think that you start off assuming people are being dishonest, and then it kind of just derails them for the rest of the conversation because people are really off put when you tell somebody, "Hey, I think you're lying" or something.
Yeah. Do you think I'm wrong?
Doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. It destroys the rest of the conversation because you've already put the person on the defensive or whatever. I think that if you have the impression that somebody is lying, I think it's good to work your way around through to that so that you kind of both can arrive at that together and then give them an opportunity to be more forthcoming rather than accusing them of lying.
Do you see why I think that's a bit manipulative?
Yeah, but conversation is all about
It's all.
manipulation to
Yeah,
some
I know.
extent.
I know you think that, but I don't like to do it that way.
Okay, that's
Although
fine. But just
I
understand that you're going to make people very defensive, right?
yes, I know. Well, that's very clear, but I think, ironically, I'm getting a reputation for being very manipulative,
Yeah.
and you have a reputation for being very not manipulative, and yet
Yeah.
you're telling me to be more manipulative.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that?
So let's say I'm having a conversation with somebody and they say, um, I really fucking hate X, okay? And I
Yeah,
know they don't hate X. They're either saying it
right.
because they feel like they have to or because they feel like, right? So
Yeah,
there's two approaches I can take. Instantly, I can go, I know that you're lying about hating X. You actually love X. This is going to, now we've established a conflict where I'm telling
yeah,
them they're lying about something and we're going to fight about that. Now, people
yeah.
intrinsically don't view themselves as liars, so they're never going to believe you, right? But let's say instead they say, I hate X. I might say something like, okay, that's fair. Um, I really enjoy doing Y in my life. I think I've had a lot of fun with it. Do you know anybody that does it? Okay, yeah, cool. It's kind of like
Yeah.
X. It reminds you of that, I think it's like kind of cool. I think it's pretty chill. And they're like, yeah, I can kind of see that. Sure. Yeah, actually, it's okay. And now we've gotten to the place that I wanted to be by being less direct because when I'm more direct, it puts them on a we're going to fight over our character. But when I'm less direct, we've externalized it to like an idea that now we're kind of arriving at together. And it feels like we've kind of walked together through a garden and we've gotten to the end of the path rather than I showed up with my sword and shield ready to fight them over their assessment of themselves. That
But
makes sense.
you've created the path. We agree on that. That's what makes it more manipulative. Is that
Sure,
you?
it might be manipulative if you want to call it that, but
I
I'm just
do.
saying that.
Well, I want to call
Okay,
it that
you
to explain why I don't want to do it.
okay? It all depends at the end of the day what your goal is, but all I'm saying is that all you're going to do is you're going to run into. I think sometimes you can get bogged down in fights that you don't want to have because they're not very productive and they don't accomplish
Oh, I don't
anything.
just I don't want to have them, but
Hmm.
the I don't think the ends justify the means,
Okay. Well, I mean, you
and
can
you
fight
think
with
they
people.
do.
Yeah, I do.
I'm fighting with you right now.
True.
And ironically, you are not doing what you're suggesting that I do in this conversation. You're coming out with your sword and shield head on.
because I think that we think a little bit more similarly. So I think
Okay.
if we have an issue with each other, I
We
would
should be
just
more
tell you,
straightforward.
stop doing this dumb shit, right? Now, if
Right.
you were somebody different, I would approach the conversation in a much different way.
Right.
Hmm.
I think I want to. I don't want to change how I definitely change how I communicate depending on who I'm talking to, but I think I don't want to change this. I would
Hmm.
rather just crash.
Sure. I mean, it just depends on where you want the fighting to be.
I don't want to try to control where it is. I think that's what I'm saying. Is I want to just say what I think is happening. Here's my problem.
Hmm.
Uh, if I don't talk about what's happening in a conversation with you, or in our relationship, or in a conversation with whoever, with book smarts, like the prime example, then it becomes, because there is always some meta interaction happening, whether
Hmm.
you talk about it or not. And what you're saying is, I should only acknowledge the topical surface part, and then also just win the meta conversation, like win the meta art. If they start trying to push me around in subtle ways, don't talk about it, just win that fight that's unspoken, and then also participate in the main topic. And
Yeah,
as soon as I sense
mhm.
that happening, I just want to call it out.
Yeah, I understand, but there are ways that it's like a psychology thing. Like there are ways that we can talk to people so that they feel like they have more agency over the conversation, even if they don't. I don't know how to
They feel
explain
like
it.
they have more, but they actually have
Mhm.
less.
True. But that's good. You want them to have that feeling because then it makes them feel more involved in the conversation and less attacked, right?
I know you told me to treat Lauren Southern like a cat.
Yeah.
You said don't just run up and start rubbing her belly, which is what I did.
Hmm.
But my problem with that is that I think it's unethical.
Really?
Yeah, especially if I'm talking to somebody who may like end up saying something about themselves, possibly being like being radicalized and killing people, or trying to kill migrants, like anything where they might, because like because she's not a cat. Like, if the shit I talk about with people can be very heavy and dark, and I think that I need to be as transparent as humanly possible in those conversations to do it ethically. I think it would be wrong to give Lauren Southern a false sense of security that I'm not going to judge you. You know, we're just talking, and can you just kind of see how we get here? And then when she looks back at the path and she realizes, oh, you've led me down this. I mean, that's basically what Booksmarts did to me. He got me to show him my belly, but I was wrong to do so. He tricked me. That's why I got so mad at him. Because then afterward, he stuck a knife in it. And if he had come at me
Okay.
with the sword and shield, then I would have been
Uh,
like, okay, great. He's going to come with the sword and shield. I know that he's going to attack me after this conversation, blah,
sure.
blah. But he came at me with the trying to get me to roll over, and then he knifed me.
Okay.
And I don't want to do
So
that.
sometimes Nathan would engage in behavior that I think is bad. So let's say that Nathan takes something from somebody. He's not sharing a toy or he's not sharing a game well.
Okay.
I might, with
Is Nathan your
Nathan,
son?
yes, sorry,
Okay.
my son. Um,
Okay.
so I might with Nathan kind of talk him through like, hey, um, if I were to come in every time you were playing with a game and I were to take it from you, you probably wouldn't enjoy that very much, right? And I might try to
Mm-hmm.
have a conversation with him where I'm trying to get him to live the experience of like, well, if somebody took all of my stuff, it wouldn't be very fun. And nobody would want to play with you. Nobody would want to play with me. If I'm constantly taking your stuff and people would have a good time, then you wouldn't have a good time. And I might try to
Yeah.
get him to experience through that. Like, okay, so maybe it's better to share and not be taking things from people because it'll make sure everybody has a better experience. Or I could just say, Nathan, you need to share. Stop being an idiot. I could be more direct. Now, I don't think it's
Yeah.
unethical to go through the experiential route where I'm kind of like demonstrating, hey, like let's think about these experiences so that we can evoke something in the mind that gets us closer to what I want to achieve, which is to get you to share your toys more. I don't think that's an
Yeah.
unethical thing, right?
Well, no, but you're his father. I mean, the relationship is, he knows that you're his father. He knows that you, first of all, you
It's not
are,
about me. It's not about me being his father. That doesn't make the
well,
advice right. I could be a
I
teacher. I
think,
could be a caretaker. I could be
okay,
whatever. I mean,
I'm not,
it's
but
not.
that's what I'm saying is I don't want to tell Lauren Southern that I am her caretaker or her teacher because I'm not.
But
I'm engaging
in
in a
a
intimate, it's an intimate interview, but it's also exploitative and
it's not
dangerous.
an yeah. So we got to be clear about the goal. It wasn't an interview. It was a confrontation. We were trying to get a concession. So that gives you the power in that conversation.
I don't
You're
agree. I don't agree.
okay. You're absolutely wrong. You disagree
Okay.
with me because you have
That's
nothing to lose in that conversation. You have nothing at stake.
in
You're
that part
not
of the
like being
in that
exposed.
part of the conversation we
Yeah.
were talking about cuties too.
But you've completely owned up to that. You're fine. This is another thing I think I told you that you feel like you're doing one thing, but you're not. You're saying like, oh well, we're both like pedophiles and Nazis, lol. You're totally squared away with that. You're good with that. You've processed that. You're open about it, and you've moved on from it, and you've integrated that experience fully, right, into your existence. Lauren
Right.
Southern clearly has not. So
No.
you don't have anything to lose there. It would be like imagine if I were talking about like an incredibly sexually closed off like woman who's in her 30s and she's like a virgin, right? And I start saying like, oh, okay, like I really like jerking off to My Little Pony, right? Now I'm really open with my sexual experience. Now you can be open, right? It's not going to be the same for us. You're like, wait, hold
Okay,
on. I'm
that
like, this is
we
not. Mhm.
okay, I may be in a better place to have a conversation about my controversies than she is.
Mhm.
But that
Yeah,
does not change the fact that the conversation was not set up as an interview. Or and it was not set up as a confrontation.
sure. It might not
That
be,
it
and
became a
I,
confrontation,
yeah, I don't
but
really
I
care what it was set up as, but what it became was Lauren Southern was essentially on trial for something that she's done historically, and you were kind of like judge, jury, and executioner running that trial, where you were trying to get a concession from her, like, hey, I need you to admit that in a part of your life you were a fucking atrocious human being. So
I don't
let's
think that
let's go ahead and get you to
I don't think
let's
that's what I said. I think I said I want you to I want you to answer these questions. And if the answer is you don't think you were an atrocious human being, that's fine. I just want you to have an answer or say that you don't want to talk about it.
yeah, but nobody's gonna say they don't want to talk about it because then it sounds like they're making the concession all the same. If I were
Then
to ask
don't
you, do you think you're
fucking turn your webcam on and start talking to me.
sure? But I'm just saying, what
Like
is your goal?
this is what I'm talking about. As I
But
don't want to be
is that
pushed
your?
around. I
It's
don't
not
want
about
to be pushed around. It is.
your. It's
If
not.
so,
No.
because if okay, if I so if I say if I
Mhm,
in DMs if I say can we talk about our past controversies, including the
mhm,
migrant stuff, she says yes. So then we turn our cameras on and now we're talking. And then I say,
mhm.
okay, here are my questions about it. And she answers. And I say, well, I feel like you're being evasive. I don't think you're really answering. Um, if she
If
keeps
sh
evading, at
mhm,
that point, unless I'm going to just be like, let her off the hook and
mhm,
pretend that she has answered when she has not, which I don't want
mhm.
to do, she's trying to push me around.
She's
She's
trying. Well,
trying.
she's not trying to push you around. She's trying to dodge your aggression, is what it's perceived at from her point of view.
No, no, no.
Because
But the aggression is only in response to her pushing me around.
yeah, but it's only in response. It's only that
This is
response because there's something she doesn't want. Because you have the power in that situation. You're trying to get a concession from her that she was a horrible person at one point in time. She's never made
no.
that concession publicly ever.
I'm not trying to get that
You
concession
okay?
from her. I'm
When
trying
you
to get her
literally,
to
no, no,
answer the
I need you to
question.
understand. Okay, hold on. I need you to understand how other people's minds work. Okay, when
I
you
know how their
say,
minds work, but they're wrong.
okay, but it doesn't do anything to say that. When you're saying
But it's
verbatim,
true.
right? If
Okay.
I would have done anything like that, I would have thought I was a horrible person. When you
Yes.
say that, I don't know if you realize it, but you're by proxy making the accusation you were a horrible person. And I need you
I'm
to say
not.
that. I need you to say that to me that you were a
No, no,
horrible
no, no, no,
person.
no. You are adding. I need you to say that to me on there. That's not
I'm
true.
I'm adding it because that's the
I have this
subtext. That's
conversation
what
with people all the time. People constantly are like, I think your review was immoral and the things you say about cuties is horrible and it's a horrible thing to say. She said
Mhm.
she literally told me that my review was
Yeah,
immoral.
but when she
But
said that,
she was not
mhm.
I don't take that to mean that I have to also think that.
You just I don't think you're understanding the I think that when
I understand perfectly.
no you don't, you think way too highly of people. I think that if I were to ask you
No,
questions
I under
about no if I were to ask you questions about things you believe or things you've done, I think
Yeah.
that I could ask you something about your cuties review and I could walk that thought back all the way to this is like the fundamental point of how I gather truth or happiness. I think I could follow all that back to that root cause. Do you agree with that? That any like abstract thought you have can probably be traced back to some more fundamental thought, right?
Sure.
That's very inhuman. Very, very, very few people can do that. So when you're
You mean
approaching
you mean
somebody,
you mean very few people would be able to have that conversation and tie those things together to
very
eventually.
few, less than 1% of people could do that.
Okay.
So when you're having a conversation with somebody and you're offering what looks like a weakness to somebody, it's not. You're 100% put together and ready to explore that. So when Lauren was lashing out at you and she was like, okay, well, why did you cover the cuties review? You're sitting there like, and I've been in your position, so I'm empathizing, okay? But when she says that, that's almost like a, yeah, let's go there because I've already explored that fully.
Right.
I can own every single part of that conversation. I've had them all before, and I can be fully confident every step of the way when we're talking about that. So her
Yeah.
attacking you with that is not the same as you attacking her with the let's talk about the migraine thing because clearly there's a lot of
She
unresolved
has not
stuff there.
thought it. She has not thought it through.
Exactly, yeah. So there's a huge, even though this is what I was saying back at the original, even though it looked like you were offering her like a lifeline, like, oh, look, we're like the same, you're not. You've processed and integrated that so much more than she has with her experience. These are not the same things. And if anything, it almost looks like she's being baited or lured into getting dragged down with you. And she's not even, hasn't even gotten to that point of processing that
But I
yet.
didn't. I didn't know that.
Sure. Well, that's why I'm telling you, you need to make these assumptions with people, right? Most
I need
people
to
aren't going to be
assume
able to.
that I need to assume that people have not processed anything that they've said or done, even 5 years later.
At least if you're approaching something because you were trying to get a novel admission from her. She's never publicly said any of that was bad.
I don't. I
So
don't think I. That's not what I was trying to do. You keep saying that's what I was trying to do, but that's not true.
a lot
I
of the
wanted.
conversation seemed to be revolving around getting her to say like, well,
No.
reflecting on it and
No.
say, well, isn't this kind of bad?
No. No. No.
Okay, it felt like
What
that.
I
I think
here's
she
what
felt like that.
I'm sure she did, but here's what I. Well, she felt like that because she because just because I think something's bad doesn't mean I want you to think it's bad. What I
But
wanted.
most people, just what you just said right there was very inhuman. Most people think that everybody has to agree what's bad and good.
I know, but
Right?
the reason she agreed to talk to me in the first place, I assume, is because she knows that I don't operate that way. So we
No,
do have some
nobody,
basis.
nobody knows that. So again, from personal relationship experience, friendship, you can say that you operate a certain way. Nobody believes you. Nobody will believe you until it comes to a point to where it's tested, and then people are going to treat you like a monster or like you're inhuman. Nobody believes you are the way you are until they've had firsthand experience with it, no matter how you say it. That's just absolutely true. So even if you say something like, "Hey, I'm very honest and I explore
So
conversations,"
why do you
and
think
it
she
could
agreed
get
to talk to me then?
probably because she genuinely finds your mind interesting, and she didn't know that she was going to have to defend what her past that much.
She thought we would go easy on each other.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, because she felt like because I talked I'm not leaking it. I talked to her later that night about the conversation, and her impression was she felt like you were attacking her like everybody else, and she thought that since you had bad stuff in your past, you would kind of go easy on it because she has bad stuff in her past. But the reality is you haven't gone easy on your own past. You fully understood and integrated all of those experiences, and she hasn't. That's the difference.
Okay. So, I don't think that's my responsibility. Do you?
So I'm not here to care about the moral bullshit or whatever.
But I
ethical. I
am.
don't care.
That's what we keep coming back to. You're very
Sure.
cynical
Okay.
in
No,
your
no, no, no.
approach to
I'm not.
this.
I'm not. What I'm saying is that like, if you want to have a conversation with somebody, you have a certain end in mind.
I
It's just
don't.
important to be aware of that end. Okay.
I
So
don't.
now,
I don't.
if your response to me is Destiny, I actually don't give a fuck where my conversations end up.
That's not
This is
true
the way
either.
I want
That's
Well,
not true.
They are. These are diametrically opposed. You got to choose one or
No,
the other.
no, no. That's
Absolutely.
not true. Not giving a fuck
Mm-hmm.
is different from not trying to control something. I can care where the conversation goes without doing everything in my power to make it go there.
But if you care where a conversation goes, you're going to exert some level of influence moving it there. Maybe not
Absolutely.
full on like mind
Subconsciously,
manipulation.
for sure. Subconsciously, I
Not
am trying.
subconsciously, consciously making choices in the so when you ask
No,
a
no. I
question,
care
like, what do you
more
think of
about the
this thing,
choice.
right?
I care more about the choices than I care about the end goal. I care more about how I conduct myself. I care more about the morality of how I'm conducting myself in a conversation than I care about whether it goes where I want it to go.
That's
Like,
fine. But
you see that
you just
there's
have
a
to
balancing
understand
act.
that yeah, it's not a balancing act. That's the problem. Is
You have to.
you
Okay, you think you just have to pick one?
Well, at some point, you might run into an area where these things become binary. You can either do one or either do the other. You're not always going to be able to.
I choose the moral derailment of the conversation into
Okay,
endless meta fighting over getting the cat to expose its belly so I can gut it.
sure, you can do that. It's your
I think it's
prerogative. But
wrong.
just be
I think
aware
it's
that.
wrong.
Okay, I would disagree, but okay,
Why do you disagree that it's wrong?
because I think it can be okay to have a purpose in mind for a conversation that doesn't mean you have to be like the most virtuous. Like when I argue with certain very radical people, my goal is not to bring them 100% to my side. Usually my goal is to get like some level of agreement in some kind of central area and then just give them like a little bit to think about, even though I could push harder. So like Lauren Southern is a good example of this. A lot of my community hates the way that I interact with Lauren Southern because
Mm-hmm.
I'm not constantly having to like hold her to account. You need to talk about what you did. We need to talk about the boats. I don't care as much about that. I disagree about a lot of what she did related to it, and I could have a big argument about it, but I don't really think it would accomplish much. Like she's really dug into everything about that. I'm not going to force some level of introspection from her, or maybe I could over time. But rather, what I would hope to do is if I can win you over on enough of these other level positions, at some point we're going to have enough rapport that if that conversation comes up, I'm going to have a lot of ability to push in a little bit harder than other people because I've proven myself to be a good actor. I'm not somebody just trying to destroy you or fuck you over, and maybe I can even offer a little bit of insight into your own thoughts.
But that will destroy her.
I don't think so.
Okay, you do we both agree that there if I had been nicer,
Hmm.
I probably could have gotten her to say a lot
More,
about the boats.
for sure.
Um I probably could have gotten her to like cry.
Depending, maybe. I don't know if she's that kind of
But
person, but
there's
maybe.
probably some combination of things I could have
Yeah,
done to get her to not out of remorse, but out of something, some
hmm,
feeling about the accusation or what happened or how big of a
for
part
sure.
it's played in her. Okay, I um I don't think that's right.
Okay.
It's weird that you're giving me this advice going into an interview with you.
Well, the way that we talk is going to be different than how you talk with any other person, so it doesn't really
Okay,
matter
so
for our conversation.
you want me to be forthright with you,
I don't
as
want
forthright
you
as
to
and
do
direct
anything. I just
as
want you to
for.
be aware
Well,
of what
do you
happens if
want me to
you.
try to manipulate you into telling me
You
things
can
that
listen.
you don't want to tell me?
You can do whatever you want to do, but I'm just saying, be aware of
No,
if you.
you're saying I can try and that I'll
I'm
fail
saying that
because
if you
you're
have
too smart.
no, no, no. I'm saying if you have conversations in certain ways, it's going to cause certain things to happen, and you just have to be aware of that. If you don't give a fuck, then I mean that's fine. And but I'm not trying to present like my style of conversation as right or wrong, even if it feels that way. Kind of like how Lauren felt like you were calling her evil, even if you weren't actually calling her evil, right? Because I haven't said anything about your style of conversation. I'm just saying that like if you have a style of conversation that is more confrontational, if you haven't earned a lot of rapport with a person, then they're going to get really defensive and locked down, and you're not going to get much farther into the conversation. I don't think.
Okay.
But if you want to do that, fuck it, go for it.
I do.
Okay.
And I'm going to do it right now.
Okay. I'm an open person, so you can be as whatever you want with me. I'm fine, but
You're guarded.
not really.
You don't think so?
No, but kind of. It's a little weird.
Okay, I feel like there's a few topics I want to talk to you about.
Okay.
Um, Either your conversation with Dr. K or my conversation with Melina. Things where I want to. I feel like there's just like. Uh, Also, do you look at your subreddit?
Yeah, all the time.
Okay,
Yeah.
so their opinion of me is like all over the place. It was good, and then it was very suspicious.
There's like a jerk wave. Then if there's too much of somebody, there's going to be a counter jerk wave, and then there will
Yeah.
be like a counter jerk wave. That's just like the nature of the internet. Yeah.
Okay, so they have talked about they've mentioned me betraying you or me being a sociopath or me being super needy and wanting to talk to you all the time or wanting your attention or wanting your airtime on your streams.
Hmm.
And then they've talked about us having some horrible falling out, or they talk about me becoming a gigantic streamer and then betraying you
Yeah.
somehow. And then Melina uh, I think touched on all of those in one way or another. Um, what do you? I guess okay. So I've always talked about like the power differential between us, where you're like a huge streamer and I'm like nobody,
Hmm.
but I'm less nobody now. So
Okay.
where I feel like um, as I become less nobody, I benefit less financially from each conversation we have,
Hmm.
which gives you less control over me in a career way. Like
Okay.
I am becoming more your equal.
Self-sufficient.
Yeah, like not
Let's
your
not get
equal
ahead
in
of
terms of
ourselves, but
yeah. I don't mean your equal in terms of size. I just mean in terms of how much I could be using you. That amount that has to be that's decreased significantly,
okay.
right? Do you agree on that?
Yeah, of course. It logically
You
follows,
don't
yeah.
like being used.
I don't care if I'm used. I think it depends on who's using me for
Well,
what.
okay, I don't like being used. I feel like I'm
Oh,
learning
okay.
more about what it must be like to be you as
Sure.
more and more people try to use me. I'm having like I've never had this experience before, but over the last 2 weeks, uh,
Okay.
everybody's people are sending me like, "Oh, have you talked to this person? Blah blah blah. You might be into blah blah." Blah. Everybody's doing. I've never had the experience of somebody doing someone else a favor by telling me their name, and this must happen to you all the time.
Of somebody else doing you a favor by
Someone
telling
doing
you.
someone else a favor. Someone being like, just these imagined conversation. Like the conversation went like, yeah, I know Destiny. I'll send him a DM and like I'll mention you and like I'm not sure if he's gonna really want to talk to you, but we'll see. We'll see what he says.
Hmm.
I
Okay.
don't like it.
Okay.
I feel, um, yeah, I feel used increasingly by more and more people,
Why don't you like
and
it?
because they don't like me.
Hmm.
They like money. They don't care about me.
Have
They
you
care about
developed it? Do you feel like you
the
have
attention
some
on me.
way? Yeah, do you feel like you have some way of weeding out those types of people, I guess, that contact you? Or
No, because a lot of them also genuinely like you.
hmm.
Even some of my friends, they're like really excited. They're excited about the channel in a way that they've never been before.
Okay.
And it's like, well, you're not really excited about the channel. You're excited about like fame and power, but that's not me. That's nothing to do with me.
Yeah. Kind of an inevitable part of growing is that your personal relationships could potentially take on a different form. But I mean, that's going to be unavoidable, right?
Um, like yeah, it sucks.
Have you thought at all about how to, I guess, divine from people their intentions in associating with you, or to figure out,
Is that possible? I mean,
I don't
yeah,
know, do you
sure.
have,
I can become more. You're saying just go Scarface and be more paranoid.
maybe, I don't know. Depends how much it bothers you.
It bothers me a lot.
Okay, well,
Okay, so in terms of you and me, do we agree that this dynamic is decreasing as I grow, or
insofar as the dynamic exists and could be observed by some people, yeah, it's probably decreasing.
I'm asking you what you think. This is an
I don't
interview
care about this. This is something I don't care about at all. If there are
because
girls out there that want to fuck me for fame, or if there are people that think they can leech off my thing to be more popular, as long as I'm having a good time, I truly don't give a fuck. I don't care. So I can be cognizant of any dynamic that exists, but like it's just not something that I'm really that concerned about.
It doesn't bother you.
No.
Okay. I guess my view is that it doesn't bother you because you're so paranoid that trusting people at all just seems like unthinkable. So you're like, fuck it. They're all. I mean, like you said to Dr. K, that all you think all relationships are transactional, or you view them all that way. So therefore, if they're all transactional, you might as well just say none of them are transactional because it's not. It's no more transactional than any other relationship. If you think they all are.
There are two ways that you can go with this. And if you want to do the first way, we can do the first way. But I can tell you. So when somebody's in my position, there's two possibilities. Either one, they are incredibly guarded and they shut down some part of them so that they don't associate with people too deeply because they're so afraid of getting hurt that they don't
Yeah.
want to expose part of themselves. Yeah, which is sounds like what you're assuming of me. The second part, and this is the only answer I can give you, and you can assume I'm lying if you want, but I truly just don't really care that much. I have an internal view of myself. I have an internal view of what I want, what makes me happy. There are certain people in my life that I can utilize to achieve those ends that are fun to hang out with. If there's some mutually beneficial thing that they gain off of me, whether it's clout or something like that, I really don't really care that much. It's just not something I
Okay.
think about. Yeah.
So your sense of being used does not subtract from your sense of being loved.
Um, I'm not looking for love from other people. I'm usually just looking for positive experiences.
You don't want love.
I'm not that kind of person, no.
Melina?
For Melina, I probably do, yeah, because she's my wife. But if I felt like
Yeah.
she was starting to just use me for things, that would probably bother me, yeah.
Okay. Love from Melina and I assume a couple other family members.
And my son, yeah.
Yeah. I want love. I want people to love me.
Okay. You're finding that as a content creator is going to be very difficult
Yeah.
because people are highly incentivized to present one thing and conceal their true intentions, right? Because they have a lot to
Yeah.
gain.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I want people to love me. I want people who already love me to not stop loving me and use me instead.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
It's going to depend from relationship to relationship.
Do you feel
How, yeah.
do you feel that um, you have lost any of that?
I've never really had very many friends, not close friends that I care about that much. So, growing up, I probably only really had like two close friends, and then these
Okay.
days I probably have like less than five, maybe.
Um, are you worried I will betray you somehow?
Not really, but I try not to worry about things I don't have much control over. It seems like I would just be robbing myself of any like immediate happiness or satisfaction by doing it. If it happens in the future, it happens, but like, why would I not enjoy everything leading up to it
I
by
think. Don't
thinking
you
about it
think you
that way?
could enjoy our relationship more if you trusted me more?
Not really, because it's not like there's some part of me that you have don't have access to, like
I
just
think
because
there
of my
is.
thoughts. Like what?
Your heart.
There's not
That
much in
part.
there.
There is.
Okay.
I. You have to admit, I seem like a pretty trustworthy person.
Probably, maybe, maybe not. I'm not
Like
sure
if there were
actually.
like if you were gonna trust like a streamer who just random. I guess I wasn't a streamer. You made me into a streamer. But if you're gonna trust like a guy, a content creator that just like showed up, I feel like I'm a pretty good candidate for someone to trust, even though the situation certainly does not lend itself to trust. That's what I'm. You know what I think. I think I came. I met you and I was like, this is great. Like he's
Uh-huh.
platforming me, but also I like you and like we can
Uh-huh.
talk to each other and you're
Uh-huh.
helping me and and helping me navigate this confusing mess. Um, and like I just have to like show him that I'm like a trustworthy person. Like of course,
Uh-huh.
but now just 2 weeks into my own little career, I see you can't trust anyone.
Yeah, kind
Everyone is
of. Well,
lying. So
a
then
little bit.
so then I feel embarrassed. I feel embarrassed that I thought I could um, seem trustworthy enough to you because you're
You probably want you would be somebody that I would have the least trust in for a long period of time.
hmm.
Um,
Why
this
is
is
that?
yeah. So I approach all of these topics in a very I'll say autistic way or inhuman way maybe. So this is gonna sound a little bit weird, but I think when a lot of people look at somebody they trust, they think of like, okay, I feel like a warm connection to this person and they seem like they genuinely care about me, so they wouldn't do anything to hurt me. Does that sound right?
I don't think you're not human.
Okay, well, I'm just asking a basic question. Don't jump ahead of me.
Well, no, you already said that. So
Sure. Well,
I don't.
okay,
I think
I'll skip ahead then. The way that I view trust is,
yeah.
does somebody have more to gain or more to lose by, I guess, like backstabbing me or betraying me, is usually
Yes,
how I view it.
but
As
my
long as
own
somebody has more to lose than they would than to gain by backstabbing, then I could. This is
that's
probably a
that's
trustworthy person,
that's not
right?
trust. That's literally not the
Sure.
definition of trust. Trust
That's
would
fine.
trust
You
would
can,
be
but that's. I
trust would
understand what you're
be
saying. Yeah.
trust would be if I have more to gain by backstabbing you, and you still believe and put faith in and behave as though and still show me the cat belly anyway because you
Yeah, I don't
trust
believe
that
that. I don't trust
you
anybody like that.
you
I don't think that's true.
well that's you don't trust anybody.
No. Okay. If that's the definition you want to use, then yeah, I don't trust anybody. So
I
for
think
somebody like
I
you,
already
that
have more to gain by betraying you than I do by being friends with you.
I don't think you have anything to gain by betraying me right now. No,
I think so.
like what?
People like fights. People like drama. I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
Why did Vosh and Hassan do it?
Hassan did it because he was threatened by me a little bit, and I think he has self-esteem issues.
Do you think it hurt
And
his career?
no, he had a lot to gain from it career-wise because there was a rift growing between our two communities, where there was a genuine thirst in my community for somebody more far left. So he had a lot to gain by severing that connection and then working on continuing to build his own stuff and then capitalizing on the exodus of fans from me when he did that. Yeah.
Okay. So
Mhm.
so betraying you now would be premature. I have to wait until I can define myself against you,
Yeah.
develop cultivate a thirst for it, and then force a break.
Hmm.
Okay. And so, so that's why you still trust me. I see.
Well, yeah, and you have like very little to lose by fucking around too. Like there's a lot of you on the internet. You've been attacked in a lot of ways. Um, so I feel like you could backstab me, and it's not like it's gonna hurt you at all. So that's why when I say like, do I trust this person? Like, if I'm dealing with like a private citizen, for instance, somebody that's not a public internet figure, I would have a
Do you,
high degree of trust in that person because if they fuck me over, they publicly their lives can be destroyed. So I feel
but
like this person will never do
I'm
like that. Yeah.
I'm uncancelable, and you
A
don't
little
have
bit, yeah.
a lot of leverage over me.
Yeah, basically, it comes down to leverage, and I have none of that, and I don't think I could ever get that over somebody like you. So, not that it
Okay.
matters, by the way. I understand why it
So
bothers you because you feel like there's a deeper level of a relationship you can access once that trust part has been established. But that's not
what
really how it works with me. I don't really have like that.
you
Like,
don't
oh,
have that deeper level.
now that I trust you, like, oh my God, we can share in these experiences. Like, I'm about as willing to engage in any experience somebody wants to, assuming I'm not going to get like fucking destroyed or something. Like, I'm not going to buy a house with you or something. But basically everything else is on the table.
I think that's a great idea. Then we would have to trust each other.
Okay.
Get a vacation house.
Yeah. What may be.
Yeah. Just let me save for 5 years.
Gotcha.
Okay. So yeah, that makes me sad
Well, I'm sorry. Don't be sad for
because
me.
I actually trust you.
You should. I'm a pretty trustworthy person. I have a long history of I don't fuck
I
people over unless they attack me publicly. I'm like a pretty helpful
well yeah, but
person.
it's
Like,
pretty.
yeah.
It's one way though, right?
I mean,
Like I trust you in the definition of even if you had a lot to gain by fucking me over, I don't think you would.
yeah, I don't think I would. I think I'm a pretty trustworthy person.
You know what the problem with your calculation is?
What's the problem?
You only you're assuming everyone is a sociopath because
No, I wish they
well
were. Go ahead.
let me
Yeah.
explain because you're when
Mhm.
you weigh what I have to gain versus what I have to lose, you
Mhm.
place nothing on the emotional pain it would cause me to hurt you. You place nothing on me caring about your well-being. You place nothing on morality. That is not factored into your calculation. It is uh, subscribers, money, social standing, things like that. That is the only thing that factors in.
Mhm.
So you in your evaluation of who to trust, you assume everyone is a psychopath
I think that
or could be.
morality is nothing. Nobody thinks about morality. They might have like an intuitive feeling of what might make them feel good or bad, but nobody's thinking of like morality when they're thinking about fucking somebody over.
I think I
I think
do.
at one point in time I considered this. You might, but you'd be the exception. So at one point in time I considered how I associated with people because when I associate with people, something that I've learned through my 20s is I have to kind of make a lot of guesses about the emotional states of people and how that'll influence how they make decisions. Because I think I don't make decisions in the same way sometimes, but a lot of other
Okay.
people seem to. So for a while, I think it led me to be a little bit I people acted in ways that I didn't expect. It's like, well, hold on. How can this person fuck me over? Like, I haven't done anything like that fucked up to you. Or how can a person do this? This is like really weird to me. I feel like I've done so much. But I think what I've kind of learned recently is when somebody's fucking somebody over, the reason there aren't any bad feelings that they have to deal with because in everybody else's mind, they've always convinced themselves that they're in the right for doing so. So they don't actually have to deal with those types of bad feelings because they're always the hero of their own story and they always have good justification for the reasons they're acting. So I think it's a little bit of a waste of time for me to try to guess like, okay, well, objectively, I've done like a decent amount of shit for you. How the fuck can you do this to me? Because in their mind, they've already convinced themselves, well, Destiny's a horrible person. He's done this horrible shit. Like
Wait,
I could do
wait.
this, and it's actually okay.
Can
Hmm?
can you give me a real life example of somebody who you think has no qualms
So
about?
Vosh is somebody who only exists on the internet because of me, because I'm willing to talk to smaller creators, because I was willing to plug him as much as I could early on, because I gave him a big presence in my chat. He was involved in a sexual harassment scandal that I covered up for him, kind of. I deleted the video off my YouTube channel. I would always tell him like, hey, like I did a lot of stuff to help him early on. That would be
Yeah.
somebody that, in my mind, if I was in his position, I feel like I would always have a debt there. There's no possible way that I could like turn my back on this other person and be like, you're a horrible piece of shit or whatever.
Okay.
But he did because there was more to gain publicly. But I think in his mind, I don't think he's thinking like, oh God, like, me and Destiny, we were kind of friends, we had this, and this is going to hurt a lot. I think in his mind, he's already thought like, okay, Destiny is actually an evil, horrible person. I don't even think he likes me at all. I think he's actually like an evil fuck, and I need to do this because it's the right thing to do. So I might be trying to project onto him some emotional state that he doesn't have because from his point of view, he's already convinced himself that he's correct in everything that he's doing. So that would be like one out of, I can give you like half a dozen other real life examples of people acting in this
I
manner.
might want a couple, but do you think most people are like Vosh in that way?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a pretty normal human thing to do. We think of ourselves as like a good person usually. Also, to be clear, because when we have these conversations, I'm talking about how other people fuck me over. I'm not a perfect person either. Like I've made mistakes and I've done bad things to people too. So I mean, like it's not like I'm not
Yeah.
saying that like I'm a perfect person and everybody's
Sure,
fucked me
sure.
over. And yeah, just to be
Whatever.
clear, yeah,
Whatever.
I have to give
Whatever.
the caveat for the audience. Yeah, but
I understand. Vosh, um, I feel like there's some selection bias where you're taking Vosh's public statements,
mhm.
uh, the stuff he says to his friends might be, or like if he has a therapist, is probably different. I think I agree that Vosh's presentation is as someone who has no self doubt or qualms about anything he does, but we don't. Do we know that's actually how he is?
I think he has a considerable amount of self-doubt. Um,
But he
this
conceals
might
that.
sound, yeah, but this might sound like some pop psych bullshit. But usually when I see somebody that is acting in a very alpha or an incredibly like I need you to know how confident I am,
Yeah.
to me that usually comes across as being a little bit concealing of some kind of insecurity. That's how I
And,
usually
and
view
it's
it.
an insecurity that he's aware of.
Well, he's either completely aware of it or he's trying to cover it up and trying to suppress it. But yeah,
Okay, also, another selection bias problem.
uh-huh.
Um, Vosh and like most streamers,
Uh-huh.
or all streamers, became popular because he seems to be very confident in himself and his positions. People are very drawn to that.
Yeah.
So I guess I just don't agree that most people. Um, I think most people are more like Lauren Southern, where like part of her is very confident in her decisions, and part of
Uh-huh.
her is not. And like
Sure, but
she has the stream.
you only show the confident part. You never want people to know the parts you're not confident about,
Absolutely,
right?
but the other part is there. I feel like only in like really crazy. That's why I think you're assuming everybody might be a sociopath because
I don't think people
um
are sociopaths. I think people are predictably selfish. But just to be clear,
you're describing an extreme level of selfishness. I think an
I think
extreme
it's a
level.
totally normal. But I might just be very cynical. I think everybody is
That's
very
what I'm saying
selfish.
is I think you're very
Sure.
cynical. I
Okay.
mean, even at the beginning
But
of the
me being
conversation, you were like, Max, you're talking to people like they're not stupid,
yeah,
but they
they need to talk
are.
like they're dumb. You can call me cynical, but I don't assume everybody is a sociopath. I think people are like pretty predictably selfish, is what I would say.
Yes, I know that you don't think that you're assuming everybody's a sociopath. I'm just pointing out that you do not factor the morality or anybody else caring about you into any
Mhm.
of these calculations.
Well, I think people care about you to the extent that you provide something to them, and once you don't provide that thing, or if they can get something better from somewhere else, and they'll switch. That's how I view it.
So
It
you think
sounds
if you
sociopathic when I say it that way, but I think the feelings in other
no, it just
people.
sounds like you're like you. I've been backstabbed too many times.
Okay.
I want to put some shea butter on your back wounds.
Okay. That's okay.
I, I think that yeah, I'm challenging the way you're thinking about it because like you think if you became homeless
Mm-hmm.
and like say you were involved in some I don't know. Say you'd been like not paying your taxes and you lost all your money and you got banned and you said the N word on Twitch a bunch so you got banned.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody thought you were a neo-Nazi, so your payment processors pulled out, and it was impossible for you to stream or make money, and you became homeless. So at this point, I have nothing to gain from you. You think that I would just me and everyone else would just disappear?
I think we would probably still talk. You seem like that kind of person, but I could be wrong.
What kind of person
Um,
is that?
Somebody that is interested in talking to me because you think I'm interesting.
Because I can gain something. I'm like
Yeah, but what you're
satisfy my
gaining is
morbid curiosity. Show me around your box. Show me around your cardboard box. I'm just curious to see what it'll be
I
like.
think that it's hard to find people with minds that are put together in such a way that you can have an engaging conversation that goes from like a fifth level abstraction down to like a first level abstraction. So when you run into those people, I think that the conversation is generally like pretty good. So the other person that Melina brought up before, I had a real life friend named Byron. He had absolutely nothing to gain by associating with me ever, but he really appreciated it. He liked it a lot because we could have conversations that he couldn't have with other people oftentimes. So I would assume you're kind of similar. I mean, maybe not, but it seems like it.
Yeah, I've heard multiple people, including Melina, have told me that I
Uh-huh.
remind you of him.
Yeah.
And I've seen people on your subreddit commenting about being worried about how sensitive I am emotionally.
Okay.
Does that worry you?
What people I don't worry about what people on my subreddit think.
No. My sensitivity.
Um, a little bit. It doesn't worry about us talking. I just think it inhibits some of your conversations sometimes. I'm used to talking to sensitive people.
Yeah. Um, okay. Wait. What kind of person was Byron, or what is the comparison you're making?
He's just like he very much had like a full way of kind of like looking at the world. And if I gave him there's like a broad way that I could explain people. I don't know if this dichotomy fits for every single human being, but there's like a broad thing that people can do. I can give somebody an idea, and there's two ways that they can process it. The 99% of people is I give you an idea, and the first thing you do is you run down every group that you belong to figure out how you're supposed to respond to it, and then you give me that expected response. This is the vast majority of conversations. What do you think about like this movie? Okay, well, what did XYZ YouTuber movie reviewer think about it? What are the popular media at the time? This is what blah 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 blah. And that's how like most people do it. Occasionally, very rarely, you run into a person like, well, what do you think about this movie? And you can tell that they have some internal schema that they're actually like holding this to generate some novel thought that's coming directly from them. And Reckful was able to do that with a lot of stuff. You seem able to do that with a lot of stuff. Hopefully, I'm able to do that with a lot of stuff. But yeah, those are the more interesting people to talk to for me.
Because then you're talking to the person and not the.
Yeah, I don't need to know what society's popular view of something is. I can just go look at fucking Reddit or Wikipedia or some shit. I don't need you to regurgitate to me whatever the most popular reviewer or idea is about something. I don't need that.
Um, I wasn't sure if I wanted to bring up Reckful.
Okay.
Okay, a couple. It's all tied together. I talked to Melina. Melina talked about you. Talked about Reckful. Talked about Dr. K. I watched you watch a video about Reckful and Dr. K.
Okay.
Um, my fans want me to talk to Dr. K. I don't think Dr. K wants to talk to me. It all feels interconnected. Oh, also, you told Melina not to let me mindfuck her.
Oh, that was like a passing joking comment. I feel like you read way more into that than.
Yeah, I did.
Oh.
And
You
then
said something. Her
and
she
then I told
analyzed some
Melina.
situation, and I thought it was correct, and you were arguing against her that it wasn't correct. But I thought she was right. But I was worried she was starting to doubt herself because you're pretty good at convincing people otherwise, even when I
Yeah,
think it
so
might
you
be
was
correct.
not really a joke. It's
Well, yeah,
you
I guess it
meant
depends on
it.
what you mean by mindfuck, but yeah.
Well, you meant it, but it also was funny.
Okay. Best kind of humor has an element of truth
Yes.
to it.
Well, or it is just completely truth. Um,
Sure.
do you want to jump in? So I've just laid out a merry-go-round of interconnected topics. Do you want to steer clear of all of them, or do you want to talk about any of
Talk
them?
about whatever you want, whatever your heart desires. Okay.
Of course, you'll say that. Um, let's start with Melina.
Okay.
What do you think about? Do you think I mind fucked her?
No, I don't think so. She's got
Okay.
like a pretty strong mind generally.
Yeah. Um, she's pretty pushy.
She can be, yeah. But I think if you're dating me, then the girl is always going to be kind of like that. Because if you're not that, you're going to
Yeah,
get
she has to
steamrolled,
be.
and I'm going to
Absolutely,
get really bored
absolutely.
really quickly. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I think I'm gonna attack Dr. K.
Okay.
Um, I don't like what he's doing,
Yep. I remember that part of the conversation.
and after watching you react to the guy's video about Reckful and Dr. K, I like what he's doing less. But I already wanted to attack him. Not attack, but uh, a,
Challenge.
s- a sale. Yeah, a challenge. A challenge. Um, what do you? What did you think of Dr. K's video with Melina?
Fuck. It's been a while since I've watched it.
He tried to convince her to that she wants to have. Well, this is a short version. Try to convince her that being non-monogamous with you is her sacrificing herself to make you happy, and then like got her to cry a few times about it, and then basically told her like, are you going to keep living for other people, or are you going to like be your own person and stand up for yourself, basically?
I think that when you hit on something that's exceptional in a person's life, being in an open relationship is a pretty exceptional thing, like an exception to the norm. I think it's
To a
okay to
prude.
question, no, to 99% of humans, okay, or 98% of humans. I think it's okay to push into that area to see how they feel about it. Um, and it wouldn't surprise me that somebody would ask questions like, "Do you really want to do this? How do you feel about this? It's causing you problems. Like, are these problems that you want? Are you doing this for yourself or for somebody else?" I think it's a fair line of questioning.
I think it's wildly inappropriate. Wait, no, no, no.
Or,
How did you
Mhm.
feel? How do you feel? How did you feel watching it?
um,
Whether it's
pretty.
fair or not, like, this guy is trying to shut down your shit. You gonna have no problem with that?
Um, if Melina decided that she wanted a different type of relationship, that's her decision to make. And if somebody else can talk her out of the one that we're in right now, that means she feels way less strongly about it than I do. So the only thing he could possibly be doing is exposing some fracture that's just going to grow over time anyway. So he would be shortcutting the process.
Okay, whether you okay, so you believe he's stress testing Melina, but you're okay with
In
you
a
want
way,
him?
that's literally kind of my approach to open relationships. That's why I don't care if my partner fucks somebody else, because if they do and then they leave me
It's
because they
stress
like somebody
testing the
else
whole
more,
relationship.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, fuck it. I guess we're gonna work anyway. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend to be monogamous and then like you cheat on me. So like, I don't give a fuck about that. Like, go have fun with other people. If you like somebody else more, then I mean, go have a relationship with them. Knock yourself out.
Yeah. If you betray me, you betray me.
I mean, I wouldn't consider it a betrayal. I mean, what are the chances of 7 billion people that I'm the best match for you? Like, if you can find somebody else, like, don't let me hold you
But
down.
that's what
Like, you.
love is, when you still care about somebody and still want to be with them, even if they're not the best match, or even if they can't provide you with anything, even
I
if
don't ever
they're
want to be
homeless.
that person in somebody else's life, so I wouldn't want that person to expect me of them as well. I think there's like a certain
But then
level
you
of
won't be in
sacrifice.
anybody's life. You're saying it's like you're saying you only
Mhm.
deserve to have love or friendship if you are the best person.
Or if you, at least it feels like
Like
it
it's
at
a
the time.
meritocracy.
Now, things that can build into the best can be things that are hard for other people to match. So, for instance, part of the reason why me and Melina are right now the best for each other is because we have like 3 years of experience with each other. I wouldn't expect her to meet somebody, even if they're slightly better than me in other aspects, to all of a sudden meet and beat like that shared history that we have. Like you do build on things.
Do you not understand why I think that is cynical and sad?
Yeah, of course, I understand.
You're not engaging with that.
I don't have that part of me that cares about that. So I can restate it back to you and you can tell me if I understand what you're saying,
Oh, I
but
know you understand it. You're just not.
okay. Then yeah, there's like I like you're trying to when you talk around it, it feels like you're trying to evoke some sense of longing or melancholy or sadness in it, but I just really don't care that much. It's not something I really
No,
feel
no,
that
no.
about.
I no.
Uh,
It's. I'm not trying to evoke anything. If you, I just want you
okay.
to say. I want you to say you don't care. I just
About
want you to.
what?
I just want you to answer.
I don't care if Melina ends up finding somebody better than me. I mean, like, I guess I'd
No,
be disappointed
do
in
you care?
myself or
Do you get why the idea that you have to be the best possible person and the best possible friend at all times, and if not, and if someone wants to just trade you for somebody else, then you're fine with that. You're just it's like at any moment you're just waiting to be betrayed, so much so that you don't even call it a betrayal.
I don't think I'd get betrayed though. I think I'm a pretty cool person. I
There's
have a
some
hard time believing that somebody I'm close to and spend a great deal of time being close to is just going to trade me out very easily. I would hope that isn't the case, but
but you're also an asshole. By your own
Kinda, but not
admission,
really.
the first time
No,
we
I'm
talked,
I'm
and the first
mhm,
time we talked, you were like, "In my
mhm.
personal life, I'm an asshole."
So I am an aggressive person, conversationally and comedically, I guess, but I'm not genuinely mean to people. And I think that's a thing a lot of people have a hard time understanding. Um, if
I
I'm
think you're mean
talking,
sometimes.
I'm very, very rarely my man. It's
I think
incredibly
I
rare.
think you make cutting remarks
Almost
sometimes.
and only to people that I'm like genuinely fighting with, but never to like a friend. Like there are things that I could joke about with Mr. Mooten or Dan or Melina if I just wanted to be mean, but I stay away from those topics pretty far. And if you ever have the chance to interview people I've been with on stream a lot in the past, you can even ask Lauren. Like there are times where I'll tell people, I'm like in DMs, be like, hey, if there's like a topic that you don't want me to touch or you don't want me to joke about or something you want to stay off, like I'm totally cool staying off of that. Like when I'm being mean, it's like mean in a funny way that I hope they can push back on and deal with. But it's not like I'm trying to find what are the things that hurt you the most that I'm going to joke about. That's not usually my approach, or it's never my approach. It's someone I'm trying to be friendly with.
Do you think you have a reputation for being mean?
Yeah, but I think it's because most people don't understand what that means.
Are we having a semantic problem?
No, it's a relation like understanding how other people feel. Um, People here's like the issue, okay? Somebody will see me with a girl, okay? And a girl says something like, I really like Blink 182. And I say, Blink 182? That's a dog shit band. Why do you listen to such garbage music? And then like we'll laugh and joke about it. And somebody will see that behavior and they'll go, okay, I'm gonna be like Destiny. So then they find a girl in real life like, hey, what's up? And the girl's like, hey, how's it going? And the guy's like, you're really fucking fat. He's like, I'm doing like the Destiny thing where I'm being mean to them, and now it's gonna. And they're like, wait, this doesn't work at all. And I've seen fans like firsthand that are like friends of friends interact with people like that. Like, oh, this guy's like a really big fan of you, so he's an asshole to everybody. And then when I see how they talk, I'm like, wait, hold on, hold on. This guy's not being like mean funny. This guy's just being really mean. Like these aren't like jokes. There's not like everybody can share in and laugh and go back and forth. He's just like really fucking mean. So I think people have a hard time I'll call it like chemistry or something where I say like the way that you associate with people, but I can
Sure.
find people and joke with them in aggressive ways that's pushing or testing boundaries, but it's actually like done in a really respectful manner, and I'm not actually trying to upset somebody or actually trying to dig in and make somebody feel bad about themselves.
Okay.
And
So
I
the
think
people.
sometimes people see me do that and they think, oh, that's just Dusty being mean, but there's like a dance or a process here where I'm actually being pretty careful at what I'm joking about.
Okay. So you think that people are misunderstanding these interactions? They
For
are
sure.
misreading both you and the person you're supposedly being mean to.
Hmm.
You're being aggressive and playful, but you generally are not mean.
For sure.
Okay. Um, how do you feel about me criticizing Dr. K?
I understand your criticism. It's gonna come down to like you seem a little bit more like action oriented, like is a particular action good or bad, whereas I'm like a little bit more, well, let's see how it affects everybody oriented. So like Dr. K, you can argue is like, okay, well this quasi like entertainment slash therapy is a little bit irresponsible, but I
Uh
think at
huh.
the end of the day I'll say, well, how many people are now engaging in more productive conversations about their mental health, even if he is like a little bit exploitative. I think at the end of the day it's worth it.
I have an advice show.
Hmm.
Have you seen it at all?
I've seen a couple things of it, but I've been traveling like this whole past week, so I haven't seen much of anything yet.
Well, I'm not taking it personally. I'm just curious.
Oh, well, I just answered the question. It wasn't meant to be personal or not personal.
Well, it felt personal.
Okay. I don't watch it because it sucks. Why the fuck would I
Just,
take advice from you?
just
You're a
like Blink
fucking
One.
loser.
Just
Like Blink 182. Yeah.
yeah. Uh, so I wrestle with like the responsibility of that. Some of
Okay.
my mods and the Discord mods were like, we should have like a resource center because every call, almost every call ends with me telling the person to go to therapy.
Sure. which is not helpful, but yeah.
Why not?
I hate it when people say that because it's like every advice like go to therapy. It's like, okay, well, I'm talking to you obviously because I'm not in therapy. Don't fucking tell me to go to therapy.
But you should.
Yeah, everybody should if they have problems that they feel like they can't resolve with themselves. Yeah.
Uh, do you think Vosh should go to therapy?
Um, I don't know if I know him personally enough to say if he
What if
should
you
or
had to,
shouldn't.
what if you had to guess?
If I had to guess, I'd say probably not. I think most of his problems lie with like trying to be a public figure and making money and growing his platform, not with having like actual self issues that he needs a therapist to diagnose.
He should retire.
I don't. Why should he retire?
Well, I he's having problems. We agree with that, right?
What do you mean? How?
I don't know. He just seems like a troubled person.
Oh, I don't think so. He seems like he's doing really well. He's got two channels that are both doing pretty well. He's got a pretty loyal audience. He's making a ton of money. He grew incredibly quickly in like a year. He basically hit my size on YouTube.
Well,
Um,
those are just numbers.
sure, insofar as his personal life goes, I don't watch
You
enough
see,
of his streams to know. But maybe is his. Do you think his personal life is like really bad or something? Or
I think maybe we have different definitions of what when someone seems troubled. To
I mean,
me,
I'm just looking from a business
he
wise.
seems
He
like
seems
he's on the
successful,
verge
but
of like snapping at all times. He
does
seems
he?
like he'd, yeah, kind of, yeah.
Oh, I don't think so. He seems pretty normal. I think that he approaches some people, me especially, with a very big amount of vitriol. But he doesn't seem like he's close to snapping or anything. But
Okay, I
yeah,
guess
yeah,
maybe I think a lot more people should go to therapy than you think. Do you think I
maybe.
should go to therapy?
Um, I don't know you enough to say. I'm not sure.
Just you don't want to guess.
Probably not. I don't think so. But maybe if you want to.
Okay,
Not sure.
and you don't think you should go to therapy?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
Because I ain't got the time for that. I'm trying to climb to masters on the Rift. Okay, I'm going big with Mr. Witness Season Elite. I think that therapists are there to provide you tools to deal with issues in your life that you feel like you don't have the ability to deal with. And I don't feel like there are any parts of my life that I am incapable of dealing with. So I need some external, like, motivator or somebody to supply me with the tools to analyze or deal with things.
I have a different view of therapy.
Okay.
I think the therapist is there to provide you with unconditional support and love in a safely transactional relationship, or not love but intimacy, unconditional intimacy and caretaking in a transactional relationship, which provides safety in the transactionality. So you know if you pay your whatever $123,
Uh-huh.
then they're going to show up for you, and you don't have to worry about that calculation that you do when you decide if you can trust somebody
Uh-huh.
is completely removed.
Okay.
You
I
can't
totally
trust
disagree,
that.
but okay.
What do you disagree about?
I don't think a therapist should be there to provide unconditional anything. I think a therapist should serve to challenge you in some ways. Now, he's challenged you in a way that isn't attacking you, but it's to
Sure.
provide you with some level of insight or tools to like overcome some problem in your
Absolutely.
life.
I'm not saying they shouldn't challenge you. I'm saying
Okay.
unconditional in the sense that they're not going to leave or disappear if you do or say something they don't like.
Oh, sure. In that sense,
Obviously
I would agree.
there's
Yeah.
a yeah, there's a limit. Like if you like try to grope them or something, like yeah, you're
Sure.
going to be gone. But I'm saying that
Okay, sure.
beyond a normal friendship or even normal like marriage, the
Hmm.
therapist, if you pay your X dollars, they're there for you in a
Sure.
way that maybe only a parent could otherwise be expected to be.
Yeah, I would agree with that, sure.
Okay, so you can. Okay, so you think. Anyway, well, okay. What my point is that at the end of every call, I tell the person to go to therapy because I can't fucking help you, and you need help.
Hmm.
Dr. K doesn't do that.
Okay.
I'm also not a therapist.
Okay.
So I want to acknowledge that I do have an advice show and I do exploit people for money.
Hmm.
Um, They're not on camera. And the conversations are very focused to one issue. So the person says, how come I blah, blah, blah every time I blah, blah, blah. Well, I don't want to give any examples because I'm going to accidentally blurt out a real one. But, and then I say, what do I think? And then I say, go to therapy. And then that's it.
Okay.
So I just want to disclose that. That said, okay, you're saying that you're okay with Dr. K sort of digging around in people's minds, semi to help them, semi for content, and all the wonderful gray area in between.
Yeah.
Because you think the net effect, even though you think it is at times irresponsible and maybe even harmful, the net effect is positive.
The net effect is positive. I don't know how much of it is actually harmful to an individual. I'd have to think about that, but
Okay, and so when I asked how you feel about me criticizing him, you said you get what I'm saying, but you think that overall he has a net positive effect on the world.
mm-hmm.
Because people go to therapy, which you think is also a stupid waste of time. But you're
No, I didn't. Well, hold on. Wait. I never said that. I said it's a
okay.
waste of time to tell everybody to go to therapy, but I think there
Isn't
can
that what
be
he's
huge advantages here. Yeah.
Isn't that what he's doing? You're saying that he's not telling people to go to therapy. He's showing them what they could get by going, or you think he's
Yeah,
giving people
potentially.
the tools directly that they might get from therapy, and they can just have it from him instead, or some
Possibly
combination.
both.
Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So maybe some people take something of value from that therapy, or maybe other people think like, wow, a conversation like this could be really good for me, so they go get therapy.
Okay. Is there are you gonna tell me how you feel about me then criticizing him, or no?
Um, I mean,
You're not exactly answering.
yeah, you're free to criticize them however you want.
I
We
know
fundamentally
this is
disagree on.
America.
Yeah, but I think we fundamentally disagree on what's good and bad. So I mean, like, we're gonna disagree on what things are good or bad, right?
Do you think it would be bad for me to criticize him?
You can criticize him if you want. I think it would be
I
bad from my
know.
point of view because I think he does. I think he contributes more good, way more good than potential harm. Yeah.
What if he needs to be challenged and then he can do even more good?
How could he be challenged? Like enter into an actual patient therapist relationship and then get consent to stream the therapy sessions, or
No, I think just his. I think he should continue to talk about the ideas he talks about. I just think the way he's doing it is unethical.
it doesn't really work unless you have a person to talk to, though. No.
I don't think what he's doing is therapy.
I think it's therapy.
It's well, it's a weird sandwich of lies. He's saying it's not therapy
I don't care what he says. Yeah,
for
for
liability
liability. Yeah,
purposes. Yes,
but it absolutely is therapy, right?
but then it is therapy.
Hmm.
But then I think because of the way he's doing it, it's not therapy. It can't
Well,
be.
there are parts of therapy that should be there that aren't there. So there's no liability. There's no checking up afterwards. There's
There's no
no.
fucking audience when you're in therapy.
Sure, yeah, that's a big difference too. Yeah, for sure.
Every time he does a session, he's also thinking like, well, there's 5,000 people watching, so are you gonna fucking cry or what?
No, I don't. I don't think it's that. Now you're being the cynical one.
Why?
I don't think he's that oriented in that
You know,
direction.
you know, when he had like a technical problem when he was talking to Melina, and he said he was like, "Fuck, we're right when we're at the climax."
I mean, an emotional climax can be a big moment in therapy. It doesn't mean that.
I've never seen a therapist say that in person.
Well,
He's
probably
making
because they're not
a
having technical issues in person, right? They're just
no,
talking face to
and in
face.
person, they've never heard a therapist refer to the climax of a session. That's film terminology.
Okay.
It's like
Well.
he's making a movie.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go at him pretty hard, I think. So I
Go
just
for
wanted
it.
to
See
know
if
what
you
he
can get a
thought.
conversation with him. Yeah.
I can't. I tried.
Well,
All right. You have anything else to say about any of that?
Dr. K.
Yeah.
No. Good luck. Do what you want.
Good luck, buddy. Have fun.
Good luck.
Be
Have fun.
safe.
Be safe.
Yeah. Okay. Um. Uh. Okay. Next topic. Uh. Fans. How do you feel about having fans? How do you feel about fans?
Cool. Validates my ideas. Makes me feel important. Makes me a lot of money. Like it's probably a good thing, right?
There's good parts of it. There's some bad
Mm-hmm.
parts of it too, though.
Sure. Like what? Like expectations the public has on you, potential hate or anti-fans or what?
I'm finding a few main things.
Okay.
One, they don't actually care about you. They care about what you could do for them, which is you uh, pathologically equate the two, but I don't think they're the same.
Some percentage of them probably genuinely care about you, and then probably a larger percentage care about what they can get from you. Sure.
Yes. Okay, so you
Hmm.
do on some level you do know there is a difference between those two. You may
Yeah, of course
operate
there
as
is. Yeah.
well, yeah, but you operate as though they're the same and you talk as though they're the same, but that's you being self-protective. They're not
No,
actually the same.
it's
You know that some people you know that there is a way people can care about you beyond what they can get from you. You know that.
it just depends on how we define that. What can people get from you? Because those
Don't
can be
do
like
this.
emotional things they can get from you. It can be
Don't.
experiences they get from you. So that's just
You know there's a difference. You know there can
okay.
be a difference, and you know what I'm talking about.
Okay. Where do you want to go with this?
There was a post on Reddit today that said you should stop doing that.
Stop
I
doing
see you
what?
saying
Oh, saying
okay.
okay.
Yeah, when you disagree with
Well, I'm
somebody, you should
acknowledging what you're
that you
saying, and I'm
should
asking.
your fans want you to say two succinct sentences to explain why you disagree with what I've just said.
Okay, the reason why I disagree is because I think that people are getting something out of you, but when I say that, people view it in a very materialistic or silly sense, like, oh, like you're giving them money, or oh, like you're having sex with them. But I think there's a lot of things that we can get from other people that make it worthwhile. So, for instance, we can get the warmth or enjoyment of being next to somebody we love. We can get like a pleasurable conversation or an experience that it's fun, like playing games. There are other things you can get that are a little bit more immaterial than like
Okay.
the very shallow material. No, no, hold on. You told me to explain this, and I'm going to explain it. Okay. There are
Well, I
things
said
we can
two
get from
succinct
people.
sentences, but go
Yeah,
ahead.
this is all one big run-on sentence so far. Okay, I haven't
Okay.
even gotten to sentence number two yet. Okay,
Okay.
and this is
All
all
right.
just a hyphenated part in the middle. Okay, so I haven't finished my first sentence. Okay, there are
I
things that we can
understand.
get from people that are relatively immaterial. When all of the material and immaterial things disappear, I think it's very hard for people to want to stick around. Now, when I say that, again, people are like, "Oh, well, you can get money." Well, no, but like, let's say you have a friend and they're no longer nice to you. They don't treat you well. You don't have fun conversations. You don't play any games. You don't do anything. Eventually, you're gonna like ghost them or stop being friends with them because there's no point in it. You don't get anything from them. So that's what I mean when I say that like relationships are somewhat transactional, that you're getting something. But I don't mean it in like a very materialistic or shallow or vain sense. I mean that there are other things you get from people as well.
Okay.
Well, are you going to explain why you disagree? Or are you just going to say okay to me?
Okay. No, no, no. That was different. Okay. That was okay. I'm getting ready. You. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know. I am gonna explain. There. Okay. Part of what I get from you
Mm-hmm.
is knowing that you're alive and that you're safe and doing okay. And so when you say so, I would call that caring about you. And then you being nice to me, you agreeing to let me interview you on stream, whatever else you do or have done for me. Those are things. You being interesting to talk to. those are all things I would say I get from you, but there's like a core of caring about your well-being, of caring about you existing,
All
that
right.
is, I would say, you could draw a line there and call
And I,
that caring about you.
okay, so I'm going to ask for a level of intellectual honesty, knowing that you're incentivized to say something contrary. But I mean, I'll ask anyway. Let's say that you started messaging me, and I was like, I just type like okay or fuck off or like I don't care anymore. Okay, like I'm doing my shit. Like do your thing. Go make more pretentious YouTube videos. Like go stream. I don't care. Have fun. If I started to say that to you every time you messaged me, would you have some internal care for me indefinitely, or would that not fade over time as you realize, okay, well this is really shitty. Like all of these experiences are sucking. I'm not getting anything out of this anymore.
The caring about the parts that I get from you, the things
No,
I get
me.
from
You
you.
said there was some intrinsic, universal, immaterial care that you had deep for just me existing. Are you going to be like watching through the window to make sure I'm still existing in a happy manner, even if I don't even want you in my front yard anymore? Even if I'm like, if I'm never interacting with you, I don't have any positive experiences, no conversations. Like, is that still some part of you that's going to like forever be with me, monitoring my existence?
There are people I have said I would care about forever who I don't anymore.
Hmm.
So I know that's possible.
Okay. Probably because you don't get anything from those people at all anymore. There are no more positive experiences shared, anything like.
I think I was a bit delusional about the nature of my relationships with them,
Okay.
and they betrayed me.
Okay.
However, those were also relationships I was very dependent on for like emotional stability. And while I think you lean on any friendship for emotional stability,
Hmm.
um, if you started doing that now, um, I wouldn't feel like you had yanked out like a support pillar from my like emotional support system.
Hmm.
You know what? I don't actually, thinking about the people I'm talking about, I'm really angry at them, but I don't know that it's true that I don't care about them.
Okay.
Um,
The way that I would interact with that is I would say that you care about some entity that doesn't exist anymore. There was some past person or set of experiences that you enjoyed and you cared about that, but either the person changed or your perception of them changed such that whatever exists now is not something that you want to engage with anymore or have positive experience with. That's how I would view it.
my perception of you includes the idea that you would suddenly become very cold and disinterested in talking to me.
I don't think so.
That's what they say.
I don't think that's how you internally view it though. Even if you say it, even if you tell yourself that. I think that if tomorrow, if I were to
No, no, no. I would
start,
be shocked and hurt. I'm just saying I don't
yeah,
think it's impossible. I would be very hurt.
sure, but your perception of me, the way that you would feel about me, would change following the function of what I
And yet I
do with
think
you.
I would
Yeah.
still care about you.
I think you would care about an idea of me that isn't necessarily mapped onto reality anymore.
I think you underestimate how much what you've done for me means to me.
I hope it means quite a bit. But like,
I
say
think it.
tomorrow,
I think. I think.
I could
I
do
think. I think
worse.
it.
Say tomorrow I showed up and I murdered your girlfriend and I cut off your arm.
And my arm. I was gonna say fine to the first part.
Yeah, and your arm, right? I
Then,
mean, like I could.
then
Mhm,
that would be a pretty serious crossing of my boundaries.
mhm. There are like
Um,
ideas of there's like I can think of old girlfriends in high school
okay,
that
the
I like
example
still
you.
that I still care about, but like not really. I remember who they were when I was 15, but I don't know if they're like that anymore. Like, do I truly have that care? Like, I'm not sure. That's not really, right? There's an idea of them that I care about, but I don't know how much that maps onto reality anymore.
Okay, but the example you gave me is you being cold and distant and losing
Hmm.
interest in talking to me or pushing me away somehow. The
Hmm.
my sense is that you do push people away. I I've heard that and I have felt it a little. Not a
What do
lot.
you mean you felt it? Like I'm doing it to you?
Sometimes. Just a little.
I offered to hop on and have the convo with you after the Lawrence Southern thing. I agreed to do this. I
Yeah,
think I think I'm
yeah,
still pretty.
you're also often warm and
Yeah,
don't
I
push
think
me
I'm
away.
pretty communicative. No.
Yeah, but there is another part of you that is like
I don't
keeps
think
people at
so.
a, you don't think you keep people at a distance?
I think people keep themselves at a
I,
distance because they
I feel
see.
like
I think they create this illusion in their mind that Destiny's not trusting, so I'm going to be careful about this because he's pushing me away.
and
But I
so
don't
okay,
think
but
I'm actually
you
doing
know
it.
like everybody thinks this about you.
Yeah, of course.
Well, you think it's a misunderstanding.
Yeah, it is. Although not all the time. Sometimes I want people to get away from it. But I think it's usually pretty obvious to read the signal or the signs.
I'm not saying it's totally voluntary. I'm not saying you're intentionally trying to do it. I just feel like sometimes you're like I don't know.
Okay. What your verbiage is confusing, but I understand what you're saying, right? Because when you say push somebody away, there's an intentionality there that is kind of implied. But you're just
Okay,
saying that
okay,
by
okay.
virtue of who I am, like I tend to push people away. I can probably agree with that, sure.
Uh, you never want to be in the position of. I guess you're not very vulnerable.
I'm not very vulnerable.
Yeah, and so I think that leads to you're usually not in the position of being reaching out with the risk of being rejected.
Kind of. I'm not very vulnerable, but it's not because I'm hiding it. It's just because I don't have very many vulnerabilities. Like I'm a pretty confident person. I feel pretty strongly about most of my things. There's not like a lot to dig around, and it's like this is something I'm secretly like really worried about.
I think if I matched your level of reaching out to the other person, we
Hmm.
would we would settle at a more distant place. I think
Probably, yeah.
if we're gonna be like friends, I feel like it's gonna be more up to me to be like,
That's
hey
probably true
Steven.
because I'll respond to every message, but it's pretty rare that I'll shoot one off on my
Uh
own.
huh.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that's what I mean. It's not that you're actively pushing people away, but I feel like you're you know, and like
Hmm.
professionally you're in a position where like you don't have to do that. But then that creates a weird dynamic because then every time I reach out to you,
You feel
uh
like you're asking for something. That's fair. I understand.
right.
Yeah, that's not good. That's probably something I should work on personally because it gives people that impression.
Yes, and that combined with the you know, professional situation, it's very that makes it harder.
Sorry.
And that combined with you thinking that people only care about what they can get from you, you can see why you know, why I'm thinking about this.
True. Could I ask you to reflect on that for like 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, because I really just want to go downstairs and get a candy bar. I'm really hungry. Can I do that really quick? I'll be right back, okay? Hold on.
Okay.
This isn't me running away from the conversation, I promise. One sec.
Okay. Let's check the chat. Let's reflect. Candy bar sounds pretty good. Candy bar tactics. Hey, Stardust. He's avoiding his emotions. That's what candy bars are for. Dr. K really does one-on-one interviews anymore. He did one this morning, motherfucker. He's very much capable of making content that isn't a therapy session format. Great. Okay, great. So then he should stop. Boshed. Wow, I don't want to respond to any of the stuff you guys are saying. I'll laugh at it though. Uh, you're sorry for telling me to talk to someone in the DMs. I'm not talking about any specific person, and I'm not even telling people not to do it. I'm saying that I have become a fountain of money and attention and warmth and sparkles. And people want to bring buckets to me and fill their buckets up. And I've never had that experience before of, like, I've had the experience of people liking me and people and even feeling used in the way people like me, where they're like, I feel like you could make me feel special, or you could make me feel good, or like, I don't know. It's uh it's like when someone's attracted to you, like they like you and they're attracted to you, but they also want to like get themselves off using you. But this is even more removed because it's not, you want to use the audience that is like attached to me, you know? And so it's like you're using me, but you're not even using me. You want to use the fans or the attention. And it's like a second level of removal. I guess I'll talk about this more with him, obviously. Change your name to Mr. Soy. You're not reflecting if you're looking at chat. That's true. I don't think he really wanted me to reflect, though. I think he was just fucking with me. Dr. K definitely recommends therapy to people after his shows. Yes, but he also owns a coaching business. So, Healthy Gamer coaches trained by Dr. K. So he can recommend therapy, but also you can sign up with one of his coaches. You know what I'm saying? There's a conflict of interest there. I have a lot of issues with it. When am I getting partnered? I don't know. Maybe never. Just for reference, Dr. K does do the thing where he tells people to go to therapy. Okay, yeah, I'm not. Hey, I'm gonna look at this very carefully before I make any definitive statements. But what I meant was, I don't see him saying, I can't help you, you need to go to therapy. I see him saying, I can help you, and I will show you how, and I will try to help you as much as I can in this time. And this basically is therapy. He's trying to have it both ways. It's not therapy, but it is. Go to therapy, but I own a coaching business. Stop bringing up Dr. K chat, you baiters. Yeah. Are the allegations about you true? I don't know. Are there any allegations about? I don't think I have any accusers yet. Play Halo with me. I should be fucking playing League of Legends when he gets back. You should go hide, and when he comes back, jump up and scare him. I don't think that's the right tone, Stardust. I don't think that's a good idea. Where'd you get your big water jug? The real questions. Amazon.com. Do you have any planned content with Shaylin? What I've seen has been really, really good. Yes. I had an idea. We were on a hike, and there was a picnic table looking desolate and lonely, and I was like, I know what we have to do. She agreed, and I just got these new LED lights. They're battery powered, so I can actually light it okay. I'm assuming you got rid of the scarlet red box of awfulness. Uh, no. I got a cloud lifter for the SM7B. It's not. This is actually my old mic. Um, I used this. This is my I Kill Pedophiles mic, but for most of the album, I used the other one. Love my shirt. Thank you. A Shaylin original. Me crawling out of a cabinet naked from my video. I'm a YouTuber. Stardust is sus. Yeah, it's more like Star sus. Please keep rejecting has infrared. Has or Haas? I don't know how to pronounce that. I'll ask Destiny. Is he a bad person? I feel like he's pretending. My sense is that he actually freaks out and then pretends it was a joke, and it kind of is and kind of isn't. I've done that before too, where you're like really mad, but it's also kind of funny. Even if Destiny became cold to you, would you still say that he would represent a valued ideal you want to see in the world? Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking about like my ex-wife. Um, I care about her, and I want the best for her. Despite feeling extremely betrayed. So yeah, I feel like it's complicated. We gotta, we're gonna have to talk a little bit more about it.
Feel like you reflected adequately enough?
Yeah, I'm ready now. Thank you
Okay.
for allowing me to have that space to do that.
No problem. You know, Dr. K in his shows a lot, he likes to take a minute to be quiet and meditate. So I just
I
wanted to
need
emulate the
I
experience
need
for
a,
you.
yeah, I need a candy bar. What kind of candy bar did you get?
Kit Kat bar, you know, the best.
Nice. Okay. So so you're gonna reach out to me more. I appreciate that.
Did I say that?
Well, you said you're gonna work on it, and I have no doubt you'll be successful.
Okay. I'll try.
Yeah.
I just had a lot of drama with an ex on stream because she thinks I didn't reach out enough. So that was, we'll see.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about any? Everybody's in the chat is telling me to ask you about all the people who you know. They're telling me to ask you about. I wasn't really planning on doing that because I feel like I don't know. I don't actually don't know why.
Whatever you want to talk about. I'm here for you to pry, okay? My brain is open to you.
Yeah. I don't want to mind fuck you.
I am unmind fuckable. Don't
I
worry.
know, but you see how that concerns me because
Why?
everyone's mind fuckable. And then so you're telling me just do whatever, but I don't. That makes me feel more worried.
Why? If you give me enough drugs, you can mind fuck me. But I can have challenging conversations. Don't worry.
Well, I think we're already having a challenging conversation.
You think so?
Yeah, I don't mean challenging like you can't like stomach it. I just mean like I don't know. I feel like we're
Okay.
you're not happy with your lighting.
I keep having to turn the exposure of the camera up because the sun is setting. I was relying on a lot of the natural light. I have a smaller
Yeah,
lamp over there, but it's not adequate. So,
yeah.
but don't worry about it. Keep going.
Um, I care about my ex-wife.
Weird. I'm just kidding. I have an ex-wife. I care about her a lot as well.
I figured. So I can't imagine. Yeah. There's stuff you could do. It's a spectrum, Steven. There's stuff you could do to make me hate you, probably. But within the reasonable, normal asshole things that you are more likely to actually do, uh, I my feeling of caring about you does feel pretty unshakable as the part that's disconnected from whatever pleasantries I get from you. And I think part of that is because I'm less of a sociopath than you think I am, and part is that I think I value what you've done for me already more than you think.
Okay. I'm not here to argue with you over how you view a relationship, so I mean if that's how you want to view it, that's fine.
Also, I think I value you as just like a person, um, separate from both of those.
Okay, like that's good, I guess. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, I don't want to like enumerate the reasons why because I feel like it cheapens it. But
Yeah, I'll. I don't really want to say anything because I don't want to fight about this because I think we just disagree. But the
but
challenge that I would put is that if we say there is a form and a function, if we say there's a person and there are things that person does, I think that at some point we start to roll some of the actions into the person themselves.
mhm.
So we say like, well, I like you as a person regardless of your actions.
Well,
What you
you
really
are
mean to
what you
say is there's
do.
some exactly. So that's why I'm saying if I change my actions sufficiently, you no longer care about me as a person because you never cared about me solely as a human being person. You cared about me because my default set of actions is something that is like highly,
Sure, yes. So
yeah, that's all. Yeah.
if you kill me or cut my
Hmm.
arms off, you will have added a new data point to my graph of you that changes the rest of it so much that I'll feel like I didn't know you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or I'll be sufficiently changed such that I won't be the same thing that you originally liked. And now
Okay,
I'm,
but
yeah.
bridge burning or having some falling out with me
Hmm.
is already on my graph of you. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So that
Okay.
wouldn't fundamentally shake me caring about you, even if you do some like petty shit.
Okay. Gotcha.
How do you pronounce Infrared's name? Haas or Has? Haas.
Pause.
Um, he blocked me from his chat and then asked me to go on his stream a day later.
Yeah.
I said no.
Damn. I could have invited him here for this interview. I think he's in LA right now. Oh man.
Yeah, I think so too. I feel like that might change the dynamic a little.
Probably a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Um, okay. So when I'm talking about fans, most of them don't care about you, and as in the way that I'm defining it.
Hmm.
And yet they feel entitled to you as if they did.
Sometimes, yeah.
Like that Reddit post. They're always giving you feedback.
Hmm.
Uh, and it's presented as you want feedback. You're a smart guy. You want to be even better at what you do, and so we're just trying to help.
Hmm.
But it's also controlling. So like I get a lot of messages and emails that are like, "Hey, I love what you're doing." But I
But
just think that if you could maybe, change this little part of it, it would be even better.
hmm.
And it pisses me off.
Tell people that. Just say I don't want emails giving me content critique. I do what I do. Fuck you, and then people will stop emailing you about it. I guess, right?
Yeah, yeah, maybe. I think I've been pretty explicit that I don't want critique from the general public of how I communicate with people. I actually do want that from you. Um, but not the average person, and not the average content creator.
Okay. I think I'm giving you feedback when I think it's appropriate, right? Like after the last Lawrence Southern conversation.
I think you should give me feedback whenever you feel like it.
Well, sure. I mean, if things, but I don't watch. I don't have time to watch a bunch of streams all the time. So yeah.
Well, I
But
think you should make time. No, I want to have a relationship with you where you give me feedback. I don't want that with people I don't know.
sure, I understand. That's
Like
pretty normal.
it's not true. It's not entirely true. I don't know what it is. It's not that I don't want feedback. It's
The feedback has to come from a place of area, some place that you respect, where you think you're going to get something where the person has something worth saying.
yeah, I don't want feedback from somebody who doesn't have a profile picture on Twitter and has 0 followers and
Yeah.
who I have no reason to who is just telling me their personal. It's like that's a comment. That
Hmm.
I think that is fine in the comment section or the
Hmm.
chat. That's where that stuff should go. But it feels
Yeah.
like there's a certain entitlement of like let's like people ask me like to get in a Discord call so they can tell me how like what I'm doing wrong.
Hmm.
I assume this happens to you every 5 seconds.
Yeah. I just delete them or tell them to fuck off.
But how do you feel about it?
Even if I don't agree with the feedback that people give me, I think it's good to be aware of the feedback because it shows that people are perceiving me in a certain way, and I want to be aware of how people are perceiving me because it's pretty important to
Right.
what I'm trying to do. Yeah.
Okay, but how do you feel? Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's why I don't tell people to fuck off. But why? But how do you? Does it bother you?
No, I
Okay.
intellectualize most of the external, nothing emotion. It's very hard to emotionally get to me from outside of a very, very, very narrow set of people. Yeah. You can make me angry. I'll get mad when people say dumb shit, but
Your paranoid view that everyone is sociopathic is
okay.
reinforced by the way you have set your life up, and you have now made it true.
Okay. I
That
disagree with like
all
three parts of that, but okay.
that now there are hundreds of thousands of people, if not more,
Hmm.
who behave toward you in the exact way that you think other people are. Do you get what I'm saying? Like you're like oh, people don't care about you. They only care what they can get from you, which is what a fan is. But now because you're like okay with that or you even expect it, it has allowed you to emotionally weather creating that nightmare and now it's true. You've made it come true. So now 99% of the people you interact with on a day-to-day basis actually only care about what they can get from you. That's not normal. But now it's everywhere. And now it's happening to me. I can see I'm like I these things happen to me and I'm like, wow, I can see why Steven is the way he is. I can see what happened to him. But I know that I think it's not, it's a chicken or the egg thing. I know that you also came to think this before this all happened.
Yeah, this was because I felt this way for the vast majority of my life, way before
I
I
know,
ever
but
got
it's
into any
allowed you
streaming stuff.
it's allowed you to stomach.
So the way that I see it is I have ways of viewing the world and I have ways of viewing people. And insofar as the ways I view people allow me to make accurate predictions about the behavior, I'll continue to believe those things. If I were to run up against a whole bunch of people that defied my expectations, I'd probably change the way that I view those people in general,
I
but
know,
that hasn't happened.
but you see what I'm saying? You're reinforcing your
No, I don't
expectations.
agree with that. I understand why. Oh shoot, hold on for a second.
Okay.
Okay, I think that it might be that the conversation is gonna break here, or because you're convinced of something that is not true, but I don't know if I can
Okay.
move you off of it, and I understand why. So hold on, wait. I engage as openly and as warmly with people as I ever could, even if I fully trusted them. I understand why you think I'm a guarded person, and you're essentially saying that I'm engaging in a limited type of interaction with people that's only going to reinforce the negative thoughts I have about how people act, because I'm acting towards people in a way where they can only ever act in a way that satisfies the negative views that I have of people in general.
Okay.
When I'm
Can I can
telling,
I can I can I reflect this back?
go for it.
You are a guarded person and not trusting, but you have a simulation of how you would act if you were trusting running in your brain, and you make decisions based on that.
No, I associate with people in ways that I think are entertaining, and I don't care. I don't think about this thing. I understand that you want to talk about this thing and you want to
I
talk about how I
do.
think about this thing. I don't think about this thing.
I
Like
know. I
you're trying
know.
to have a
I'm not
conversation with
saying
me
you
that I
think
don't
about it.
internally. Yeah. So like
I'm
when I
saying it's
saw your
happening.
content, I never made the calculation of what are the chances that he's going to backstab me. What are the like? I just not even. I don't even factor it into my head. It's more of just
Okay.
I see an interesting person and I want to associate with this person and talk to this person. That's it.
Okay.
That's literally
But
the only thing. Yeah.
I'm talking about an unconscious belief.
If
Well,
what you're
it's even a
talking about is
conscious
truly
belief.
unconscious, if what you're talking about is truly unconscious, then we can't talk about it because I don't know about it because it's unconscious, right?
Well, then I want you to see what I think,
I
and
know
then
what you think because that's what every single person says about me. I already understand this, that I have some guarded way of associating with people where I'm keeping it at arm's length so I don't
I've
hurt
never heard
myself. Or
anybody say what I just said.
okay, I feel like I hear it quite a bit, but
You no one has I don't I've never heard anyone say you are uniquely suited. Well, except you almost said it when you're talking to Dr. K. That okay, you said this part. You said you're uniquely suited to deal with the life of a streamer.
yes,
I believe part of why you're uniquely suited to that is that fans behave in the sociopathic way that you expect everyone to behave anyway. So you
everybody in my life has behaved that way prior to me ever becoming a streamer. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
I
Most of these
understand
heuristics are
that.
shaped from prior to streaming,
I
and
know
yeah.
that. I
And my
know.
behavior now isn't shaped by interactions with fans. It's other people, it's other streamers, it's other people in my personal life, it's other people in my professional life. Like
I
it's
know,
not
but I'm
just fans.
saying that I'm saying that it's weighing on me heavily to have fans interacting with me in this way where they want to talk to me, but I can tell they don't actually give a shit about me.
Okay.
I don't think it bothers you as much because I think you're used to it. You're used to feeling that that's what people are going to do. I'm saying, like, from what you're saying, people have been doing it to you your whole life. So what's another million on top?
Sure. So then what's the goal, I guess, or what are you trying to get out of this part of the conversation, I guess?
I just want to see what you think of that idea, of that way of looking at it, that you in you were treated a certain way. It gave you this worldview, but you are now reinforcing it by surrounding yourself with fans. Do you see? Do you? No, I'm not. I. Do you see why I am saying that?
Let me restate this back at you. So you're saying that I have a negative view of people trying to use me, kind of. But when I'm associating with a lot of fans, of course that's going to be the case. So I'm just reinforcing my negative view of people by doing that.
Yeah, that, and then the flip side of the coin is that it makes you very good at dealing with the pressure of it because you've always done it.
Okay, what do you think there's a way that I'm acting incorrectly, or would you change something, or should I be trying to change something, or
Well, the thing I would change, if I could change anything about you, would make your job much harder for you and much more painful. Which I think you acknowledged somewhat. You said, like, if I get more in touch with my emotions, I it might make me less suited to my career.
I've thought
And
about that a lot. I don't think that is the case. I think I'm pretty in touch with my emotions. I just don't think there's much there. That yeah, that's yeah. That sounds kind of weird to say, but I think I've spent a lot of time over the past year thinking about that, and I think I've figured most of it out. I don't think there's just some deep hidden part of me that wants to be more emotionally vulnerable to people. I just don't think that's the kind of person I am.
there's a non-hidden part of me that wants you to be more emotionally vulnerable. possibly at the cost of you being able to do what you're doing in the way that you're doing it.
I understand what you're saying. In
Good.
your mind, the challenging part of this conversation is me trying to do something that might inhibit my ability to do my career. But what I'm telling you is the challenging part is before that. It's that I don't know if those like deeper, emotionally vulnerable things even exist in me. I don't think I'm that kind of person. That's what I'm trying to say.
A human person.
Or whatever. I think that just different people can process emotions in different ways, and I just think I'm not a very emotional person.
I think you are.
Okay. Well, we can't. There's no, we can't really. I don't know how we resolve disagreements over who I think I am, but
I don't know if we have to.
okay. Well,
Could you retire?
and live off of my money, or
Yeah.
I think I could. I think so.
You stream a lot.
I do. I like it. It's really fun for me.
I want you I want us to assume that the following questions are not an attempt to circumvent or rationalize my earlier position or to get you to agree with me. I'm not trying to change your opinion of yourself. I just have some questions that
Yeah,
are
sure.
semi-related but are not. I'm not trying to argue with you.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. You stream a lot because you like it.
Yeah.
Do you think you're a workaholic?
It's. I think so. Yeah. I spend a lot of time working, and when I'm not working, I get a little bit worried sometimes. So probably yeah.
What do you get worried about?
I guess it's kind of true in the streaming world, but I always get the impression that like if I'm not moving forward, I'm kind of falling behind.
Yeah.
Um, and you're missing out on a lot of potentially big events if you're
Yeah.
not like constantly in tune or whatever. I mean, I could probably go with that. I mean, like sometimes I've taken vacations and I've chilled on streaming for a bit, so I mean, I can do it. But I really enjoy working and prefer to do it.
My friend was trying to get me to take a day off, and I said it's weird because it's like you should strike while the iron's hot, but
Uh-huh.
then when you strike, it just gets hotter. And I was like, basically, I feel like I'm just going to be working more and more until I screw up so monumentally that I just have to take a break.
Yeah, you can also fall into this weird trap where it's like I need to work right now because I'm getting a ton of viewers, and why the fuck would I throw away this opportunity? But then
Right.
when they start to slide, you're like, okay, well, I'm losing viewers or I'm low on viewers. I need to work right now so that I can get my viewers back. So you can get like on
Yeah.
this never-ending treadmill of yeah,
That's how these companies want you to think. They want you to be addicted to the gamification of it so that no matter what happens you think it means that you should work more.
I don't think Twitch is that purposeful for how they do things, but I mean, it benefits them, I guess, in a roundabout way. Yeah.
I mean, they've got those bars and graphs that are so nice to look at. All those exclamation points.
True.
Okay. Uh, okay. So what's bad about you being a workaholic? Is there anything?
My personal relationships can suffer if I'm not thinking about them enough. So like Melina will get irritated if I'm spending too much time working and streaming and then not like allotting some time to my personal relationships.
Do you play any other games other than League?
Usually like resource management games. Sometimes I'll play like single player games. Just depends on what's going on.
Like what?
Like which single player games do I play or
Yeah.
mm, I guess growing up, I played a lot of like JRPGs. These days, it'll be whatever I guess a really popular game that I should play. I guess so. Like, I played through The Witcher 3. I probably should have played God of War, but I didn't. I need to play The Last of Us 2. I played The Last of Us 1.
I'm a
I don't
big
know,
fan of The
whatever. Like,
Last of Us too.
okay, yeah, whatever the I guess whatever's like popping at that point in time. Yeah, I played through Cyberpunk. Oh God, yeah.
Sometimes I think about asking you to play video games.
What kind of like multiplayer games do you play?
Uh, I play The Last of Us.
Is that multiplayer?
Yes. It's the best multiplayer of any video game ever.
Uh, okay, I don't believe you, but
It is. Objectively, it is the best multiplayer of any video game ever. And so few people play it that when I play with Jimmy, my friend and editor, my no man, we join separately so that we can be on separate teams. Like we'll get put in the same match, and so few people play it that it takes like 2 minutes to get. It's like there's only ever like 30 people playing it at any given time, but they're always playing it. And like you'll play against the same. There's people I've been playing against for like for 6 years, just the same names, all maxed out on everything.
wait, The Last of Us 2?
The Last of Us One.
Oh, that game had a multiplayer. Oh, okay. Apparently, a lot of people in chat are saying it was actually really good. So,
It is still at it's
what
currently.
is it? Is it are like some of you zombies and some of you are people, or
No, it's 4v4. It's like chess. You have to think very strategically. Like if you walk into a room and there's two people in the room, like you're gonna die 100%. There's nothing you can do. There's no quick scope in your way out of anything. And it's incredibly brutal and gory. Like I think it's the most violent multiplayer of any probably mainstream game that I've ever seen.
okay, interesting.
I play Smash.
I don't play that game at all.
I started playing Halo.
I need to play that game.
Maybe we should play some Halo, but I want to play it off stream. So I was gonna say, I think of asking you to
Oh
play
man,
video.
off
I think
stream. Oh man.
so. This is the workaholic. A true workaholic would not want to play video games off stream.
This is like free money just on the floor. Why would you do that?
Because life isn't all about money.
You're just like you're killing like three birds with one stone by doing that, though. No.
No, that's how workaholics think. You just think, well, I could just flip the camera on and be working at the same time, but it's not really
Exactly.
the same. But if we just play Halo, like for fun,
I mean, I can still play
like
for fun on stream. No.
no, not really.
No.
I don't think so. Streaming is fun, but it's not. It's like camming. Like I like jerking off, and sometimes I like filming it, but it's not the same thing. You know?
I understand what you're saying. If you're trying to get me to play games off stream, that's a
It's a big. It's
monumentally tall
it's a
order.
it's a big step. I know. So I haven't asked you, but I'm asking you now. I think we should play video games together off stream sometime.
That is almost never gonna happen. I
I
don't just
know.
don't.
I know because
Okay.
you would need to because that's the thing is you have a button that you can push that just prints money,
Mm-hmm.
and so at little well I see you think it's at little cost to you, but I think I don't know. You said being a workaholic makes your personal relationships suffer. This it's happening right now. You're
Our relationship is
demanding
suffering right now.
our relationship is suffering right now. You're rejecting my friendly request, my invitation. You're rejecting my invitation because you want thousands of people to pay us to play video games.
If you want to play video games off stream with me, your best chance is when I do my next Rust server. Sometimes I'll play that off stream because if I stream it, people will fuck with me. That's your best. That's your best shot.
All right, I'm in. We can do it on your terms, Steven. That's
Well, are you
fine.
good at like Rust? Have you ever played before? Are you good at shooters?
I'm good at video games.
Okay, you have to qualify that because I was a professional video game player. Okay, so I am good at video games. What do you mean when you say you're good at video games?
Uh, I'm pretty good at video games. I don't know. Although I'll say I haven't played with a keyboard and mouse since high school. But I feel like I could pick it back up.
Okay, maybe you could. I'm not that good at shooters, so
You want I have to do I have to try out? Is that what you're saying?
yeah, we'd have to try out. We'd be playing some Halo or something. See how good you are. You know?
Okay, I'm happy to try out.
Okay.
1v1 me, bro.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Okay. My friends who I play video games with would be very upset if I insisted on streaming it.
Well, I mean, they're not public people. I could understand that. Yeah.
You are not acknowledging that allowing the masses to participate and pay you drastically changes the nature of what you're doing.
It doesn't for me, but I understand why you think it might.
Okay. I accept the dead end.
Okay. I think that's why I normally end up streaming games, even if it's just single player, because it's not like I don't think there's a huge difference between playing single player games off stream versus on stream. So I might as well just yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm afraid of becoming like you. I could see that happening. I mean, even what I just said, I was on a hike with Shaylin, and I was like, oh, we should shoot a video here, and then suddenly we're not hiking. I'm scouting. I'm location scouting.
Does Shaylin complain a lot about that?
Yeah,
Is it recent, or has she done that always, or did it just start with the stream stuff picking up?
she has generally complained always about the idea that if she said, "Hey, let's go spend a weekend in X place," take the weekend off and let's just go be together somewhere, and it's a 2 hour drive, I would be like, whoa, all right, what? No, that's too much. I can't do it. But if there was uh, if I could film myself 20 feet underwater talking about pedophiles in like a cave in Thailand, I would go do it in a second. I think I just made like an Elon Musk pedo
Yeah.
accusation of free association in my head. But you get what I'm saying.
That's like a really, really, really bad habit that you have to break. I do this all the time with Melina, and it's really bad. So I just left for 4 or 5 days to go and do stuff out here. But the second I get back, I'm gonna want to stream because I've taken like 4 or 5 days off of streaming. Um,
Right.
and it's a little yeah. But when I get back, she's gonna want to hang out and do stuff. But the issue is that I've just been not streaming for 4 or 5 days, and now when I get home, you want me to take another day off work to do stuff with you, from my perspective. But from
Mm-hmm.
her perspective, it's like,
You've been
what
working
the
already.
fuck? Well, no, it's not that. It's worse than that. From her perspective, it's why the fuck could you take 4 or 5 days off to go and hang out with people and do random shit. But then when you come back to me, now you have to go back to work and you can't give me any time. What the fuck? So that's a huge problem I have in my life. But yeah.
What's the answer? What do you tell her?
Well, we argue about it a lot. It's probably the biggest problem in my relationship right now.
Usually they say women are expensive because you have to buy them stuff. But you have a money printing machine in your office that you have to turn off anytime you want to hang out with Melina.
The type of women that want you to buy them stuff, that's a garbage woman. Who the fuck cares? That's not the type
Well,
of relationship that I think most of us work for.
this is more expensive in a way.
It's time that people
Every
want.
second you spend with her is a second you could have been making money. You told me to schedule my time.
I did. So
Well,
that you don't work too much, because I said work can fill every hour of the day, right?
yeah, so why don't you schedule your time?
Because I just let work. I can give you a lot of really good advice. That doesn't mean I follow it. Sorry.
Yeah.
I can tell you so many things about how to manage relationships and all that shit, and I do sometimes on stream. A lot of the advice I give is really good, but I don't follow all of it. I have very real problems in my life that I have a hard time dealing with. So,
I think you should schedule your time.
um, yeah.
We have scheduled blocks of every day that we spend together.
How do you like that?
I like it. I don't stream as much as you though.
Yeah, but you could be working on video stuff or other stuff as well, right?
Yes, yes, and I usually am. But it's easier to stop and start.
What do you do during
It
your scheduled time? And are you entertained while you're doing it?
with her,
Mm-hmm.
fight.
But like, you schedule time to just fight every day?
Well, no, we schedule time to spend together, and often we end up fighting, or we watch stuff, we eat, talk, we go on walks. We're like a 60-year-old couple.
Okay.
Do you schedule time with Melina? How does it happen?
I
How
try
do you?
to, but
But you blow it off.
no, I don't blow it off. If we have something scheduled, we'll
You
do it.
dick.
But the issue is that she's usually the one finding things to do,
Yeah.
and if she doesn't, I'll just fill all of my time with work-related stuff.
Kind of like you and me.
Yeah.
I see a pattern.
Like if you or Melina never messaged me again, I might stay in my room and stream for 12 years. And then I'll come out and I'll be like, wait a second, where did you go?
Yeah. I see. You should work on that.
Yeah, I think so.
I think you should schedule some time with her, no?
The problem isn't the time. The problem is me being engaged during the time. Because there's so much stuff that I love doing on stream that I'm ultra engaged with.
Yeah.
And we have like a really different set of interests. It's hard sometimes to schedule things. It was so much easier when we were like within walking distance of a movie theater, because I really like watching movies and we could walk to the theater all the time. But with
Yeah.
COVID and stuff not releasing, it's been way shittier. That was a really
Yeah.
big way that I could spend time with her. But yeah. Oh my
Um,
God, I don't want to rip this conversation off into this direction too much. Just a quick
okay.
question. Did you
Yeah.
watch the new Matrix movie?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I
Okay.
was really, really, really high the first night, okay? So maybe
Okay.
that influenced it.
I
But I started watching it, and when I got through the first third of the movie, I was ready to hop on Twitter because everybody shat on this movie, and I wanted to give the most contradictory take ever. Because I was like, the
yes.
first third of that movie, it was
Yes.
actually probably one of the best things I've ever seen in my life. It was so awesomely like self-referential and comment. I thought it was so good, and then it totally fucking nosedived into
Yes.
shit.
I had the exact same experience. I was like, I think this is one of the best Matrix movies.
Yes. Oh my God. Every line, like, I couldn't tell. And again, it might have because I was really high, but it almost felt like the director was talking to me and challenging my expectation of the film constantly about what it
Yes.
was supposed to be. But then it turned into generic action garbage, and I don't know what happened.
Right.
Oh, fuck. It was so frustrating.
Yes, if it had gone from that to unforgettable, visionary, like amazing visuals and cool moments, to if it had been like, oh, you think we're just going to make another Matrix movie, blah blah blah, and then hit like a home run of like the coolest Matrix shit you've ever seen,
Hmm.
it would probably be the second best Matrix movie. It would have been amazing.
Hmm.
But then it seemed like, oh, you're just doing the self-referential shit because you don't have it anymore. This is all
Maybe, yeah.
subterfuge. This is all smoke and mirrors because you lost the magic.
Hmm.
I heard that it's the most expensive of the Matrix movies, which was because I was like I can forgive some of this looking shitty if it's cheap, but I
Yeah.
don't think it was cheap.
No, because CGI is really expensive. You got to pay a lot of artists to work on that shit.
Yeah.
But
So
the stuff
did
that mattered all looked really bad. Like, how do you have
yes,
worse fight scenes 20 years later? Like, and no offense, but like this is this is not Neo anymore. This is fucking John Wick. So you should
right.
be able to do, yeah, like I truly don't know
Yeah,
what
yeah, because you
happened.
can't say it's because Keanu Reeves is too old. He can fucking still
Yeah,
move like and kick ass and shit. I mean, and Liam Neeson, like you can make a cool action movie with a 60-year-old dude, and they just didn't. Especially with all those, yeah,
well, look at
it was
Liam
very
Neeson or
disappointing.
whatever, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
but I went to sleep because I couldn't finish watching it all. But I went to sleep like I was so excited the next day. I was like, we gotta finish it as soon as we wake up. We gotta finish that movie because I think everybody is wrong about it. I think it actually is like a gem. I think it's such. And then halfway through, I was like, oh no, it's nosediving into like a worse than generic action movie, and then
yes,
it turned into utter garbage. Like what the fuck?
yeah.
But okay, sorry. Yeah, fuck.
I,
Anyway.
I, just, I just don't know how you can have a Matrix movie with no memorable visuals. That was a really bad idea.
Yeah, or at the very least, like, say what you want about The Matrix 2 and 3. I think people rag on those movies more than they should. They at least had like cool like fight scenes and shit, I guess, if you like that. But this one
Yeah,
sucked. Everything about it, all the fight scenes were horrible. Neo's little force field thing constantly
yes,
was
really bad.
garbage. Like,
Yeah,
remember when the one girl was like, "Oh fuck, don't get me started on this, goddammit." Okay, in the Matrix, the first Matrix, okay, when they have to jack in to save someone,
yeah,
it's Neo going to save Morpheus, okay,
yeah,
and it's a huge ordeal, and it's like
yeah,
the coolest thing ever. If you're like 9, even if you're 25 or whatever, I still think it was like that's awesome. Okay, nobody's ever done
yeah,
it. That's why it's gonna work, right?
yeah,
In the Matrix 4, there was one part where the girl's like, "Jack me in. I need to save all those guys in the van." And I'm like, "Okay, I wonder what she's gonna do." And then when she gets jacked in, they just like have guns and they just shoot all the people off the van. And like, "Oh, you saved us." I was like, "What am I even watching?"
yeah.
God, it was garbage.
The
Oh
first one
my
is
god.
like a horror movie. It's like when you're in the Matrix, the agents are like sharks and they're coming after you, and like you're gonna fucking die if you don't
Hmm.
immediately do everything you're supposed to do. And it was scary,
Yeah.
and all of that is completely gone.
Yes. There. I saw a YouTube video once, an essay on the it's the antagonist throw or the protagonist throw, and it was interesting because they juxtaposed it with Terminator 2. So basically, there's something that I'm gonna point this out. If you like watching action movies, you should mute the stream because this will ruin every action movie for you. Okay.
Okay.
So, if you're fighting somebody in real life, okay, if you can kill that person, when you get your hands on them, the last thing you're gonna do is just throw them
Right,
somewhere
you're just gonna
because
kill them. Yes,
yeah, you're gonna
exactly.
kill them, right? Now in Terminator 2, the scary thing about the robot guy was when he got near people, they died. They killed
Yes,
him
there's
instantly.
no fucking around. Yeah.
Exactly. Same thing with the agents. If an agent is near you, you're fucked. They're gonna capture
Right.
you or kill you. You're just fucked.
Right.
Um, and they do this thing more in movies now where they
They
just kind
throw
of like
you.
they throw you
They throw you
around or they
around.
shoot at you and you miss. And yeah, what you were talking about, like that drama with the agents. And honestly, I don't know if you could have done it any better than the first Matrix. The drama with the agents was just so bad, and no, everybody seemed kind of invulnerable, and everything was like so lame and like, ah,
Yeah.
fuck.
When it becomes clear that the villain is going to just throw the hero around until the hero kills the villain,
Hmm.
it
Or
there is
shoot
no
every
more.
shot and miss over and over
Yeah,
again, and
there's
it's
no
like, yeah,
tension.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you don't go to movies anymore.
Well, because there haven't been very many coming out. They're starting to again, though. I want to see Scream 5, but
Yeah. Um. Okay, so what do you mean when you say you're not engaged when you're hanging out with Melina? You You're
It's just hard
you
not to let my mind wander to things I could do that are like so much more like critically
you
challenging, or yeah,
you need to be doing like three things at the same time at all times.
yeah. Now there are some things that I can do with Melina that are a lot of fun. So like we've gone like diving before, um, like water related stuff is super fun. There are a few things that are really fun, but I can't go on a walk or hike. I can't do that.
What happens?
I have to do something. It just
What happens
my
if you don't?
just get really bored. I'm just walking. It's really
Just
difficult.
bored?
Yeah.
How do you experience that?
I feel like I want to be doing something else. I feel like I'm wasting my time.
Do you get like mad or like anxious?
I don't get mad. I maybe anxious. I guess if I'm like tapping my foot or something. I don't know, but it just feels like I should be doing like at least two other things. Like I could be doing my phone thinking, or I could do my phone doing something like emails or Discord messages. I could be listening to a podcast. Like there's like, I don't mind going to the gym. That's like an active thing. Like I'll spend my 2 hours or hour and a half at the gym, and that's like fun for
Yeah.
me. But
Okay. Would you say it's fair to say that you have trouble sitting with yourself?
I can do it if I need to. Like if I have something to think about, I can do it. So I really like long drives, and I like to or if there's something that I really need to introspect on, if there's been some challenging shit, I can spend some time with myself just thinking about things.
But
But if
as
I
a
don't have anything
general
like
day to
if
day,
if I don't have anything purposeful to dwell on, then I hate just sitting there doing nothing. It just feels like a waste of my time.
okay, so whatever you're saying to Melina, you also say to yourself. Like, hey, if you want to have a meeting and we have something to do or something to discuss, we can hang out. But if not, I got shit to do.
Kind of, yeah, but that sounds really mean, and then it makes her feel like she's not important to me, which is shitty of me to make her feel that way. And it's not
Yeah,
really true because she is really important to me. Yeah.
but you do the same thing to yourself.
What do you mean?
Um, you would not just like sit and take time to be with yourself. Like
Yeah, no.
if you were your own friend,
We would
you're
have to be
saying like,
playing games or doing something, engaging with each other. Yeah, arguing or something.
right. Do you think any of this is a problem?
Probably, but it's pretty fundamental. So,
It's such a big problem that we might as well not call it a problem.
well, the problem is that I'm going to lose all of my relationships if I can't allocate some amount of like purposeful time to other people. So I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
That seems like a pretty big problem.
Hmm.
So, yeah, if I could change anything about you, and maybe I can, uh, I would change being more in touch with your feelings so that you might be able to sit with them and or yourself and or Melina and or me um more like I guess intimately.
It's not like a sit with your feelings thing. Like, if we want to do some intimate experience like that, I mean, I can do that, especially with drugs, or if we're gonna drink, which is a drug,
Well,
I
yeah,
guess.
my sense is that you want to be distracted. And
No,
I know that's
I
not how
know
you
that
see
people
it.
say that. No, and I know.
Yeah, I think you want to be distracted from your feelings, but you think
Mhm.
you're just bored.
I understand your desire to say that,
Yeah,
but
thank
there's
you.
nothing I can
I
do to
don't believe
convince
in
you out of it.
boredom. I don't
Yeah, I
believe in
know.
boredom.
I'm comfortable sitting with my feelings. Like I can sit with myself and be chill. But the problem is, I just feel like there's other things I'd rather do.
I understand that. And you understand why I said what I said.
Yeah, because you're looking for some deep, sad part of me that is just like dying to come out. Some child that's yearning for attention and warmth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not the case. I've associated with a lot of people that think that I'm different than how I say that I am, but I've spent a lot of time with myself and thinking about myself, and I don't think there's like something that I've missed that some
Well,
stranger
I
is
hope
gonna
you don't
like pull
think
out of me.
I have a lot of the same problems. I hope you don't think that I'm saying that I don't have a deep sad child that wants me to hang out with him and I keep saying, "Yeah, I will as soon as I do this other thing. Leave me the fuck alone." I'm not trying to say like, you know, there's something wrong with you that isn't wrong with me. If I could change anything about myself, I would also change the same thing.
What would you change?
My tolerance for and interest in sitting with my feelings.
I feel like I can sit with my feelings if I need to. It's just
Well,
boring.
you okay, but I'm defining you. Okay, I'm defining being bored, checking my phone every 5 seconds, blah blah, all this shit. Not like when Shaylin says, "Hey, there's a fair, there's like a farmer's market on Saturday," and I start having a heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's because I'm bored. I don't think it's because I don't want to hang out with Shaylin. It's because I don't want to hang out with me. And
Oh, okay.
when I start
That's
thinking like,
I
God,
understand.
what the fuck am I
You
gonna
might
do?
have, yeah, you might have those feelings, but you are projecting hard onto me. I do not feel that way. If
I
somebody were to tell me there's a
understand.
thing going on Saturday, I'm not thinking like, oh my God, I don't want to hang out with me. I do like to hang out with Melina, but what I'm thinking is like, I could be grinding League. I could be
I
doing
know.
like political stuff on stream. I
I
could be like,
know.
there's
I
like a
know what you.
million more ways that are,
I
yeah.
hear. I hear you. I don't believe. I think you're lying. No, I don't think you're lying. I just think you're
You
wrong.
do. You think I'm
No, no,
lying to
no.
myself? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, you
Well,
do.
no, 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 no.
No,
I
you
think
do.
you.
You do. You think I'm lying to myself that
I think
actually I have
you're.
an intense discomfort with my own feelings of being
I
with
think you're
myself,
wrong. I think you're
hmm
wrong about yourself. I don't think you're lying.
which is another form of lying to yourself, right?
Yes, but I want to make it clear that I don't think that you.
You want to soften the blow so I'm less hostile towards your criticisms.
No, no, no. This is going to make you more hostile. I think you'd
Oh,
rather be
okay.
called a liar than be called uninformed. Maybe. I
Probably
don't
because
know.
lying
Maybe,
sounds
maybe,
a little
maybe
bit
not.
more purposeful. Lying sounds a little bit more Machiavellian. I like that more than being dumb.
Right. Yeah, I just think you're dumb. No, I just think I don't uh I don't if what I'm saying is true, I just don't think you're aware of it. I don't think you're dumb or lying. I just don't think you're aware of it. You're unaware. Yes, you're confused. That's what it is.
Okay.
Well, you asked what I would change. So that's my answer.
Okay.
I just want what's best for you.
Think so? Or do you want me to be the best version of myself I can be for you? Because all of this was framed initially through me reaching out to you spontaneously to play games offline.
You say that like it's the most disgusting thing you've ever said. Uh no, I want what's best for you.
Okay.
And yeah, yeah, you think I'm projecting or selfish.
I think that what you're saying makes sense, and I would probably say it to most people that gave the answers that I give, so I don't blame you for doing it.
You think I'm confused.
About the
You.
internal workings of my mind, I would
Yeah.
say so. But I mean, you don't know me very much, so I don't blame you.
Oh, that's what you think.
Listen, I've done a lot of drugs, okay? Done a lot of exploring of my
I
of
know.
the inner workings of my mind, all right?
I
I've
know you
seen
have.
what's in there, all right?
Can I ask about your plans for the future of your career?
I kind of just do it day by day. I really enjoy what I do. If I do this until I'm 60 or 70, I'd probably be happy the whole time. I might have more political aspirations in the future for like doing different stuff to help campaigns, but the last time I did it, it exploded hardcore. So I don't know. Maybe we'll see.
I think about running for office sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
be
Something
entertaining.
local. It would be entertaining. Yeah, something local. Some council. Some board. You ever think about that?
A little bit, very briefly, and then I realized the pay sucks, the job sucks, and I'd rather do streaming stuff.
Pretty hard to beat.
Yeah, I'd say so.
60 or 70, would you be retiring or you would be?
I mean, I figure at some point your body is not going to work with a computer well. Either it's going to be hard to see or you get arthritis or something. Maybe I don't know.
I don't think you'll have to sit to stream at that point. I think you'll be able to.
Do it from
I
your
think you'll be able to
brain.
have a little drone that it does whatever the fuck you want it, or it does whatever it thinks you want it to do, following you around
Maybe.
at that point if you want. I don't
Or
think that's going to be a problem.
maybe I'll have Elon Musk's Neuralink. You know, who knows?
All right, I don't think I have any more questions.
Okay.
Is there any topic that you feel like we didn't get to or should go back to?
Um, I don't know. Do you think so? What does chat think?
Why are you constantly being so
Being so
awkward?
awkward. Yeah, I see
Yeah,
that guy.
yeah. Love you, buddy. Be safe. Dadstony. Ask him about Anna. Yeah, my
It's
my
not
chat.
Anna. It's Anna. Don't say
Oh, and
Anna. I don't know why people fucking call her that. Yeah.
oh, I feel like Anna is two N's. And it's not true. That
No, it's
that
a fake name anyway. But
okay. Yeah, my chat's always trying to trick me into talking to her. And then inevitably I get like 5 DMs that say, Destiny's gonna be really pissed off at you if you do that. Don't do that. I've actually never really looked into it, and I'm just like, okay, well, hey, I don't know what's going on, and I don't want to know.
okay.
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 Uh, uh, Here's the real question: when is the recful conversation coming?
What is the wreckful conversation?
I don't know.
Okay.
Um, Recful is the topic that we talked about the least.
Okay. Does that mean you'd like to explore it more, or
I'm very I'm worried about exploring it more.
why, or in what way? What worries you?
It's a sore subject
For you? Why?
for you
Why would it be a sore subject for me?
because it's upsetting.
Why? It's not like I pushed him. What do you mean?
That's not what I meant.
I'm. There are so many things that have happened in my life. I'm totally fine talking about whatever you want to talk about. But you don't
That
believe me
worries
when
me
I
more.
say that. Yeah, I
No, I
know
don't believe
because
you
you
when you
think.
say you're totally fine because you always say you're totally fine. If ever once you
Yeah.
said I'm not
Mhm.
totally fine, then I would fucking believe all the other times. But you never said it, and you're never going to.
I
Maybe.
don't know how to. Yeah, I guess that's a big problem I have. When you see that I intersect with women that end up getting weird delusions about me, it's because of this. It's because people think that no, you must be lying about this, or oh, you are this way, and I'm not. I'm totally honest with who I am. Why the fuck would I lie? Why? Okay, let's explore this. Why would I lie to you about whether or not I'm adversely affected by something that happened in my past?
I don't think you're lying.
Okay, you think I'm engaged in a level of self-deception then?
I just think you're a bit disconnected from your feelings.
Okay, I mean, I'm on. I like. I'm sad he's dead. Like, I wish he was still somebody I could talk to. It's not like I'm not like, oh, it's cool that he's gone. Like that makes me feel better about it or something. Like I'm not. I
I,
don't lie to
I,
myself about it.
I, I
But
know what the point of contention is it a sensitive subject?
no, I don't think so at all.
I know that's why I'm afraid to talk about it with you
Why would that make you afraid to talk about it?
because I feel like it has to be. And if you're going to say it's not, then I feel like you are just letting us slash away at your insides, and that's I don't
Why
want
would
to
I?
do
Why
that
would I endure that? Why would I subject
because you
myself to
can't
that?
feel it.
But then, what is the? Okay, if that's how you feel. You're the meme.
I'm an empath.
Yes, I can tell what you're feeling simply by deciding that you're feeling that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm scared. That's what you're feeling. Out of an abundance of caution.
Why?
If,
Well, I'm the
if we're going
only
to talk about
person.
it, I want to talk
I'm
about it
the
very carefully.
I'm the only person that you're going to be able to talk to on this platform that can navigate these types of topics without getting severely like emotionally distraught over it.
What
But you
I'm
don't
concerned
believe that,
about
yeah?
is not that that's because you're so good at maneuvering that you don't get cuts. I'm concerned that you just don't feel it. So you may be drenched in blood by the end of the conversation, but you just won't care or know.
How can you?
And
How would
and
you make that? How
and
would you
that
ascertain that?
I don't know. I don't know that I can. But the problem is I don't know that you can either. That's what concerns me. I don't think you know what you're feeling, and I also don't really know what you're feeling. I'm just guessing. So then it's like, I feel like we're flying blind.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else you'd wish to explore then? Hopefully, something that doesn't secretly leave me wounded and scarred in a way that neither of us can actually perceive.
What do you have a mission statement for your channel?
Fuck no. But I generally have one. I just like conversations to be as fact based as possible. So when I engage in politics, I want people to be factually correct about what they're talking about. And then the second point is, I wish that people could understand each other's positions a little bit better. So have a little bit more empathy for how other people think instead of just ascribing like the worst possible intention to whatever they think.
And you want to create that.
Yeah, people that do that, yeah.
You want to make people more empathetic towards each other.
I guess, or at least understanding of each other. Yeah, maybe not empathetic, but at least have an understanding and an intellectual understanding. At least you don't have to be empathetic, but that'd probably be the
You
best
don't
if you
want.
could.
Yeah, I think so.
Hmm.
That's the same as mine.
Hmm.
I'm talking to Richard Spencer on Friday.
Nice.
I was
You
going to
feel like
read
it's
his.
going to be a productive conversation?
I don't know.
Oh, how'd your conversation with Vince go?
Pretty bad.
Bad in what way?
I let him rattle off probably false economic statistics
About black people?
about everyone
Okay.
for too long before telling him I didn't care. And I think it came off as probably ignorant to him. Also, he demanded to know if I was a pedophile for like 10 minutes,
Uh-huh.
and I refused to answer.
Okay.
And then I demanded to know what kind of porn he looks at, since we're talking about our sexual proclivities, which is not really a fair comparison.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he wasn't interested in talking about so so I went into it being like, I want to understand and probably refute the connections you make between whatever's in your binder, and so therefore I should be racist.
Mm-hmm.
He was only interested in, here's what's in my binder, and since that's what's in there, it's obvious why anyone would be racist. And then he told me that he thinks that I think all the same things he does. He said if my neighborhood, if a bunch of black people moved into my neighborhood and it
Oh, I
became
heard that part.
45% black, I would move out. So then I'm
Yeah.
like, well, like we can't really compare our like ideas or views here if you literally don't believe mine.
It's got to be really frustrating when you talk to somebody they don't believe what you tell them, huh?
Yeah, I can't fucking imagine what that must be like.
But yeah, no, I heard that part of the conversation. You talked about living in New York and everything. Yeah.
I would be fine if he didn't believe me, but if then we could, like, I accept that he doesn't believe me, but then we could, still move forward because like, will you allow me to say what I think based on you not believing me, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But no, he wouldn't do that. And then I wanted to ask him some hypothetical questions, which he did answer. I asked him if he, instead of zapping, I said, would you Thanos snap all of the non-white people out of the country to a paradise if you could?
Mm-hmm.
And he said yes. And then I said, if instead of doing that, if you could just Thanos snap all the criminals and low IQ people out of the country, which would be a more accurate, like, category.
Mm-hmm.
I said, like, you're saying there's like a 15% IQ gap between like whites and whoever, right?
Yeah.
What if you could just zap out all of the stupid people and leave the smart black people? And he was like, yeah, I guess that would be better. I would do that.
Oh, it's cool he admitted that. Okay.
Yeah, so then I was like, okay, so I guess you're not really a white supremacist. You're like a smart supremacist, but you're using racism, which is this like pretty loose correlation
Mm-hmm.
tool instead. It just seems cruel to me and like inaccurate and unethical, and like you're admitting it's not even the real goal. I don't know, it was weird. And I wonder, like, if he has white supremacist fans, I'm sure he does, what they think of him saying, well, if you're stupid, then like I'd get rid of you too. It was weird. But yeah, there wasn't really any room to talk about it, and he would never shut the fuck. There was a point where I was just begging him to please shut the fuck
Yeah.
up, and he just wouldn't stop talking. And Ralph was doing shit to moderate it. So
Yeah. It's weird because when you talk to people like that, you think that they're using race as a proxy for other bad things. But sometimes in those conversations, you find out that people are using bad things as a proxy for race, which is really
exactly
weird.
right. So
Yeah.
that my conclusion was, yeah, either
Because
you
I'm asking
really
about those questions like, okay, wait, so you don't like blacks because they're standard deviation below whites, genetically speaking. Okay, well, what if we just made an IQ test to enter the country, and then we shipped out all the dumb blacks and all the dumb whites, and we just kept all the high IQ people, some of
and
which
that's
are
what.
going to be black.
But he
But
said yes
usually
to
they
that.
won't. Yeah, usually they won't say yes to me on that. Usually they say, well, you can't test that; it's too hard. I think I might have even asked Vince this exact question. I don't know if
Weird.
anybody remembers the last time we talked, and I don't think he said yes to that. But we also were a bit more adversarial. So, but yeah.
I feel like yeah, I was definitely adversarial in the sense of like I was begging him to please shut the fuck up, but it wasn't like attacking his character. I was just like, I really want you to stop talking so much. Like it's just like it's awful how long you're talking for. I really want you to stop, but he wouldn't stop.
But he's not there to engage with what you're saying. He has like a dialogue tree, and he kind of just wants to run down the tree.
Yeah,
And
and
get
so I
all the
let
points
I
out.
let him I foolishly let him do that, thinking I would kind of get a turn, and I never got it.
Yeah, because they just want you to agree or disagree, and then they move on to the next dialogue tree. They can't actually engage in any of their points. They just have
No, and
like
then a lot of the
speech,
statistics
basically.
he gave, I checked later, and like they're not true.
Or
So
they're
I'm
like
like,
half true, or they're missing a lot of context. Just, yeah.
right, yeah. So I don't know a lot about Richard Spencer. I'm going to do my research, but my initial sense is that he hates stupid people, genuinely.
No, I think he's going to be a bit more onto like this is our culture and our heritage and our
Really?
ancestry. I think so, more so than just like IQ. Yeah.
Okay. But it's our culture because it's the best culture.
No, it's just those are lame old Nazi arguments. Nobody uses those anymore. Instead of saying something is better, what they all say now is, well, no, it's different. I actually love white culture, but I also think black people should be able to have black culture. So if black people were in their own place to have their culture, and then we could be in our own place to have our own culture, everybody would be happier. That's generally how people do those
And then how
arguments.
does he answer? Aren't there black people who like white culture and participate in it, and white people who isn't
They
there
can
like
do
a
that
lot
in
of?
their own white or black country, basically.
But so then why wouldn't we make the countries divided by culture instead of by race?
Because
Which is what
culture is
we've already done.
culture is intrinsically tied to race, is what he'll say.
But doesn't the fact that there are white people who like white rappers, doesn't that mean that culture is not tied to race and that you can so like if you're saying if you take a white baby and raise it around only black people, that white baby will still have intrinsic white culture?
Yep. The way that they'll get this is they'll call something, they do this with IQ, they call it regression to the mean. That even if you took a bunch of people of a different ethnic background and you civilize them in another country, eventually they'll regress back to their default genetic culture or whatever. Yeah.
So and a white person, okay, is there any evidence of that?
No. Or
Okay,
kind of,
that's
but
that just seems
it's
like
really
that just seems
it's
like
hard. It's difficult. Yeah.
a made up not true thing that
Yeah.
okay. um
It's tiring. It comes
I
across as a bunch of people that have like no purpose or meaning in life. So you kind of like look to wherever you can find it. And unfortunately, in society, for better or for worse, we've told black people, brown people, Asian people that like you can do this. It's cool to be really proud of your ethnic background. So people that are kind of like losers and are like, oh, but I'm African, my descendants, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, but if you're white, you can't do that. Like, oh, I'm white. Like, oh, this is cool. It's like, nope. Now
Well, I think
you're
that's
a white
I do
supremacist.
think
Yeah.
that's fucked up. I agree. I
Yeah.
agree that white
So you get.
you should be able to be proud to be white, and you should be able to want white culture and talk about the betterment or success of the white race. I agree
Yeah,
with all of that.
potentially. Just it gets more complicated though because white is a very weird category compared to other ethnic groups. But regardless of why people do it, I'm just saying that's why you get people that have nothing else. And it's like, well, what about my ethnic background? Can I reach back to that and feel good about it? So I think that's where a lot of it comes from. It's basically like it's a bunch of sad losers that don't really have much in life, but now they found something to be proud of. Like, oh, my ancestors were fucking, Beethoven and and Aristotle and like this is my people.
But but do you also agree that black people who are proud of their black heritage and talk about it all the time are also a bunch of sad losers who want to be proud of their
Yeah, I
whatever?
personally think it's all cringe as fuck. But fucking
So,
people do what they do.
I guess what I'm saying is most.
It's
I
a
don't know if
human
it's
thing to do that. People
yeah.
like to do that.
I don't think it's
Yes.
fair to call them sad losers.
Yeah, I know. It's not. You shouldn't. But you asked me personally how I felt. When somebody
Yeah.
starts talking to me about the achievements of people that they had no relation to, that are, or I mean, like they don't know them, they didn't help them, you didn't do. I don't give a fuck who your ancestors are. That doesn't tell me shit about you. It tells me you're a loser because the only time. What that's. Hold on. I phrased that way too strongly. If you want to be proud
You're
of
saying
your
this is how
culture
you
and heritage,
feel, not what
this is
you
how I
think.
feel. Yeah, I
You
like
you
what I do. I
intellectually
don't give a
yeah.
fuck about what my parents have done. I don't give a fuck about
Right.
what my grandparents have done. I have my
Right.
accomplishments, my achievements, and who I am, and that's how I view other people. I don't care
Yeah.
what your daddy did or what your great 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 grandpa did. I
Yes.
don't care. Yeah,
I'm always asked to be happy or upset about what Jews have done.
sure.
And I don't care. I don't feel any or like I'll say I don't think America should be white and or stay or try to stay white in that conversation. He was like, "What about Israel?"
Hmm.
I'm like, the same fucking thing. I don't think Israel should be an ethno state. I don't like the idea of a country being based on a race.
Sure.
So to whatever extent Israel is trying to keep itself um like a racially pure nation, I have the same qualms.
Okay.
But it's assumed that because I am the same race or partly the same race that I'll be like, well, when it comes to my race, the survival and propagation of my race is super
Hmm.
important to me. I just I don't care about your race.
Sure.
Um I don't really want to argue with Richard Spencer.
Okay.
I just want to I basically want him to reconcile like do you understand why do you think these views are so awful to people? Do you think they're lying like Vince James does and we all think the same thing, or do you think they haven't thought it through? Do you think you're smarter? Do you think you're yeah, I guess more honest or smarter or what? Like how do you reconcile people thinking you're like evil? I think that's what I want to
Okay.
find out.
Okay.
Any advice? Hotshot?
Good luck. I think you're gonna be disappointed.
Why?
Interested people in general. It's all gonna come down to this ethereal, like, oh, like I'm proud of like the culture and the history of where my people came from, and like these are things that are important to me, and we should cherish, like the history and blah blah blah. Essentially, yeah.
So then I would say, what do you think about people being disgusted and horrified by that?
People being disgusted and horrified by that. It depends on if he goes the Nazi route or the non-Nazi route. If he goes the Nazi route, he's going to say that Jewish people are attempting to undermine a white person's pride in themselves and their ancestry because by destroying white people, Jews basically get rid of the biggest threat to themselves, and it allows them to subjugate the rest of the world via multiculturalism.
Okay, wait.
If
So
they,
then
yeah.
I would say, do you not think the same exact thing about Jews? Do you not want to undermine Jewish supremacy
Oh
and their
yes, but
ability to?
they'll agree with you and they'll say, "Oh no, no, no." They'll say, "I'm not attacking Jewish people. I think what Jewish people do are great. I just want to be able to do for white people what Jewish people do for Jewish
Okay,
people."
so then I would say you believe that you are engaged in a race war against the
Yes, but the
Jewish
difference
people.
is Jewish people are actively engaged in race warfare with white people, but white
Hmm.
people aren't allowed to acknowledge that race warfare is being engaged in against them. That's why
So I would
black
say
people have
you
enough black
believe that.
pride, everybody else can have black, and everybody pride, but white people
Okay,
can have pride in
so you
ourselves. Yeah.
believe you are losing a race war against Jewish people.
Yes. If he goes like the Nazi route, but I don't know if Richard Spencer is like an avowed Nazi anymore. So he might take another route for that
So
conversation
if you're
still. I don't
losing
know.
a race war against Jewish people, do you not believe in survival of the fittest? Like, do you
They'll
think
say
you should?
yes, but they'll say that like the
Do you
only
think that
reason
you
why the
should
Jews
lose?
they'll say the only reason why Jewish people are winning is because they're allowed to openly engage in race warfare.
How do
So
you
they're
think they became
advocating
allowed to do that?
how
Whose
do they
accomplishment is that?
Oh,
Aren't you trying to
World War
accomplish the
Two.
exact?
World War Two. So the argument is that the Holocaust is held up as this centerpiece of Jewish oppression,
And
and the
so now
reason
Jews
why
can do
we're
whatever they want.
exactly. So they constantly hit you over the head with the Holocaust saying 20 million Jews died. They exaggerate so much. There's no evidence. There's no proof. But once they use that as justification for Israel. Then they try to say everybody else is attacking them all the time. So they need to have all the control that they have in society. And anytime you criticize a Jewish person for anything, it's called anti-Semitism. So the Jewish people are allowed to sit at the top of the world hegemony, immune from criticism, constantly wielding the Holocaust as a weapon to prevent you from criticizing any of them, while they have their
And
own
that, but
ethno
isn't that the
state and
exact
tell white
same?
people, yeah,
That's the exact same thing that you want then,
yes, but for white people, is what they would say.
right?
Remember
So
that it's the old loser arguments are like white people are better than everybody and Jewish people are worse, blah blah blah. Instead, what they'll say is, I acknowledge Jewish people are awesome. What they're doing is awesome. I just wish that we as white people could do the same. Is
so
what they'll say.
there's a race war we just want to win.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then I'll just get sad and say that I find that cynical.
Yeah. But then he'll say, well, if one side is actively engaged in warfare and you don't want to see it, you're always going to be losing in that war. If he's
And
going
then
the Nazi route,
and
I
then
don't know if
and
he's
then
going to
I
go the
will
Nazi route.
say that I would rather lose.
All right. Well, then he'll say, well, that's sad because you've seen how bad historically the oppression has been against minorities in the United States. You're condemning yourself, your loved ones, and any future children to that same type of oppression. Because you
Yes.
see, like in South Africa, how blacks are treating the whites there now. Well, that's going to be the case in the United States. When whites become a minority, Hispanics and black people and Asians that are all allowed to advocate for their own racial pride are going to be oppressing and shitting on white people constantly like they do today, but they'll be doing it from a position of power instead of just on Twitter and in the media.
And I'll say, well, we'll have to peacefully march and hope they listen.
Hmm. Well, he'll say he probably doesn't want to be. He doesn't want it. He doesn't want there to need to be an MLK of white people because he likes the fact that white people don't have to deal with that right now.
Yeah.
But also, again, I don't know what Spencer's current arguments are. These are like traditional alt-right or Nazi or neo-Nazi arguments I've heard in the past.
But if
Spencer might
white
have a
people
different
needed
approach.
an MLK,
Mhm.
I'll
Spencer
say
might be
I'll
Spencer
say
might be a newer
Destiny
type. Yeah.
is the MLK of white people.
Spencer might be a different type of Nazi or a different type of white supremacist or white nationalist now because a lot of people that are in that community hate Richard Spencer. Richard Spencer is super hated among a lot of other white supremacist white nationalists because of some weird FBI shit. They think he's an informant and just weird shit. So he might be like totally different in how he approaches the argument now, you know?
Yeah, it's weird. He's like the leader, but not.
Not anymore, not for a long time. He's been kind of out of it.
Hmm. But he's still the most like prominent yet.
Is Richard Spencer the most prominent?
David Duke.
Richard Spencer. David Duke is older. Richard Spencer might still be the most prominent. It's just that
He's the
it's
only
not really
he's the
his
only
popular
like
one.
white supremacist or white nationalist that I feel like is a household name.
Yeah, in Britain there's a guy called is it Tommy Robinson or am I making that up?
I don't know.
That's a guy. Nick Fuentes might be more popular now than Richard Spencer. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I assume it'll just go the same place that it went with Vince James, with me saying like I think that's immoral and depressing, and him saying who gives a shit.
Something that's really fun when people start going in on this shit. I can do this really well with music, but not with anything else because I suck at everything else. But whenever somebody's like, "Oh, well, I think that the white ancient European culture, or whatever, is like so much better," blah blah blah. If you ask them about any of it, they don't know anything about it. Like people be like, I think we should be listening to the music of Mozart and Wagner. These are way better than the trash music that's today on the radio. It's like, oh, well, what are some of your favorite symphonies? And they won't be able to name a single fucking thing. It's like, okay, well, if you think this music's so good, you don't even fucking listen to it. So clearly you're lying to either me or yourself.
I don't
But
want to
yeah, I
make
don't
him
know.
look stupid.
Well, he's very good at talking. So if you're gentle
Yes.
with him, he's gonna talk through all of the good reasons why he's a white nationalist. You're gonna have to push in some area to make it a challenging conversation for him, or else he's just gonna
I
get all
mean,
his
if I
points off
can't,
you.
then I guess I mean, if he can convince me to be a white nationalist by the end of the conversation, then I will be. I guess.
Okay.
I mean, if I don't have anything to push back on, then I'll be like, well, I guess you're
I mean
right.
that he does rhetoric. That's what he specializes in. It's not going to
Yes.
be like big debate bro fact-based conversations. It's going to be like an empathetic appeal to defending your cultural heritage
Well,
basically.
that's kind of what I want from him. I want, um, I guess I want to show other people that that neo Nazis or white supremacists or whatever have reasons for feeling the way they do, and that
Yeah, they
they
go
and
ahead.
that they're not like they're not stupid. They're not stupid compared to everybody else. Like it's just the same shit that you're saying. Where 99% of us will just say, "I believe what my group believes," and that it's not. There's not. I don't think there's anything like particularly different about that ideology than anything else, other than I think it's like super immoral. But
Yeah, but like what's the goal then? Is the conversation just at the end you want your whole audience to be like, "You know what? White supremacists are actually kind of cool." Maybe you made a lot of good arguments. Like maybe we should be white supremacists. Is that the goal?
the goal is empathy, and I want to push back on his ideas from an empathetic position instead of
Sure.
saying
Okay.
that's
Pushing back is
abhorrent.
okay. Here's the danger with empathy, okay? This is a human thing. If you
This is
reject
you.
it, that's fine.
You said your
I'm
channel's mission statement was empathy.
sure.
You
I'm giving No, I didn't. I specifically didn't say that.
said
I said it's
understanding each other.
understanding.
Understanding. Okay.
Different.
Mine is empathy.
The reason why is because I don't think that people are generally capable of being empathetic without also condoning a behavior. I think that once people become empathetic towards somebody, I think they very quickly change into condoning mode. So you're gonna have to. So if you are gonna make somebody empathetic towards somebody's points of views, there's gonna be some big chunk of people that are also more understanding and a little bit like condoning of those points of views as well. Just be aware
I
of that.
I I think that even more specifically might be my channel's mission statement
Is to make people support horrible points of view.
to get people to empathize with points of view that they do not hold.
Yeah, but you don't want them to believe those points of view, do you?
No, I want them to be able to empathize with it without believing it.
But won't they? Okay. I think that if I was having a conversation about white nationalism, I think the logical end of that conversation would be your audience should probably become white nationalists. Because you have to be willing to push back on a lot of pretty big areas to escape these arguments. Unless you don't care about that. But
Well, I care more about the empathy.
okay.
I have more faith than I'm more optimistic than you.
Okay.
Vince James was like, "Why do you think diversity is good?" And I was like, "Because I was taught that."
Really bad argument, but
But it's true.
I hope that's not true. If that's what you
It,
think, you should probably change that belief because it's garbage. Who cares if you were taught something, right?
uh, why do you think I should think diversity is good?
I think that having different it depends on the area we're talking about, but I think generally getting like
Racial
different points of
diversity.
view. Well, no, no, but I mean like if if it was a race to develop a new bomb to beat like another country, I don't care about like having racial diversity on that team. I might want a diversity of scientific ideas, but I don't give a fuck about that. But when it comes to
But
like
he was
running
talking
a
about like
society,
in the neighborhood or
yeah, no, that's why
in the
I'm saying it
country.
just depends.
Yeah.
Yeah, So, like, societally speaking, I think that racial diversity is really cool because I think America has done a really good job at mixing and molding like a bunch of different cultures to create something that's pretty uniquely American that wouldn't be there without that type of like cultural mix. I think that like the fact that like America's biggest contributions to art in the world arguably came from slaves, right? Jazz and hip hop and R&B and rap or whatever you call it today, right? Is basically from slave culture, which is kind of like immigrants to the country. We brought in slaves, and then it kind of developed from there. A lot of the food that we eat in America, white nationalists will laugh and say, "Oh, I don't care about tacos," but like food is really important. We eat food 3 times a day, and we get a lot of
Uh-huh.
food from other countries as well, which is like really important. If you ever think that like food isn't a big deal, you can go to the
I know.
fucking United Kingdom and you can see what they eat for food.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay?
for sure. I've
Yeah,
I've I've done that. But you,
yeah.
if you took all those things away, I would still
Mhm.
believe that diversity is good.
Nah, fuck
I would.
that. I don't think so.
I'm telling you, I was indoctrinated with this belief. It's like a religious belief. I believe that telling people they should separate by race is inherently wrong
Why?
because it's dehumanizing. It's telling you that the way
It's
you
not.
look, to me, I think it is. It's telling you that you are your shell. Your shape and the way you look is what categorizes you.
Well, you could literally just say it's like different people prefer different things, and it's nice to have our own little areas for each other. Like, would you say that it's wrong that two different families live in two different houses?
No, I was specifically raised to believe that racial segregation is wrong.
Why?
Why was I raised to believe the justification?
No.
There's no
Why?
such
What is
thing
the
as there's no such
justification?
thing as separate but equal. And as soon as the government starts separating people into groups by race, they're hurting people. People because I guess because unless you're actively doing that, they some black people want to intermingle with some white people and some Jews want to intermingle with whoever, and if you are telling them they can't, you're taking away their freedom.
What right do other minority groups have to access the wealth or resources that white people have accumulated or created in the United States?
I don't view. I was also taught to not view, even if everyone who's white has accumulated wealth. I don't believe. I don't see that as a group of white people.
Yeah,
I
but
was also
that's how a white nationalist is gonna see it. The
absolutely,
white,
and so I'm saying that I was raised to not categorize people by race. So I don't see it that way. I see it as that group of people or
okay,
whatever.
hold on. This is not true. You obviously can see race in people, right?
I can see race, but I don't think in the terms that you're describing.
Sure.
I don't
And
I
you
don't I
might
don't
not,
think
yeah,
about
I
my
understand. And you
I don't
might
think about
not.
my people.
But do you acknowledge that you would be at a disadvantage if you were the only group that wasn't allowed to, but everybody else was? Because the argument would be black people see themselves as a
Absolutely,
collective.
they
Yeah, so
do.
he's going to
They
argue
do.
that you should
I
that it's a
yes,
self-defeating like phenotype. Like this is something that's going to go extinct because
yes.
you don't
I
have any
would I would
preservation, self-preservation.
I completely agree that
Hmm.
black people are taught by progressives to see themselves as a collective,
Hmm.
while also simultaneously being taught that they are not a collective and that individuals should not be held for the actions of the average black person or statistics or whatever, which is a
Hmm.
weird mixed message. And I also agree that white people are taught that if they see themselves as a collective, they're bad or evil. And I think that's wrong.
Okay.
But I'm just saying for myself, when asked point blank, why do you believe diversity is good? I'm like, I was just taught that it's good and that if you segregate people by race or treat people differently based on their race, you are doing an act of evil.
Okay.
Racism is bad because I was taught it was bad. I think that is kind of like the bedrock. I can do what they do and reverse engineer an explanation with statistics, but even if none of those statistics were true,
Yeah,
I
I'm
would
just saying that that explanation is like that is not your axiomatic bedrock. That's like a highly abstracted position. Racism is bad. Like you'll get pushed on that. But I mean, it's your conversation. But he's gonna push on that a lot, of course.
that's fine, but I don't see how you can't really push past it. I could just say if you
Well,
think it's
because the problem is the goal then is going to be to make it look like you haven't thought about this enough. So his position is correct by default because he's considered the ramifications of other people being racist, whereas you haven't engaged with that idea yet.
Yeah, so I guess I'll say, okay, then walk me through it and see if you can change my position that racism is bad. I don't think you can, and I think you're
Well, but
underestimating
the
the
problem is,
number of people who this is why people don't want to hear your diatribes, because it doesn't matter. Even if everything you say is true, they still think racism is bad, and you need to find a way if you want to reach.
so okay,
If
here's how. Okay, let's walk through it. Okay, I
okay,
agree that racism is bad. Okay, if nobody in the world was racist, that would be awesome. But the problem is, everybody has their in-group versus out-group preferences, and the
okay,
problem is right now there is a very contrived dialogue in the world that prevents white people from advocating for themselves, while Jewish people, Black people, and Hispanic people, and Asian people, and other ethnic groups are all allowed to advocate for themselves.
agreed.
So if we could have a
I
world where
agree
there
with
was no
this.
race, if we could have a world where there's no racism, that'd be great. But in a world with racism, where everybody's using it to protect their own groups, white people ought to be able to protect themselves using the same tools that everybody else does.
Absolutely, I completely agree with that.
So then why do you disagree with my desire to carve out a nation solely for white people where we can trade and have cultural inflow and outflow with other countries, but other countries would be restricted to their own ethnic majorities that they want?
Um, a few reasons.
Okay.
One, I'm in this country, so I don't. To me, that would be destroying what I love about the country. I don't want to see that happen here. I don't want us to become.
Let's say that there are two futures of this country. Let's say
Okay.
that one future is where
Well,
10 years from
I
now.
would say this is a false dichotomy, and that I see another future. I see an optimistic
Well,
future that you don't believe
why
in.
would you be optimistic when everywhere in the media it's okay to shit on white people, when black people are getting reparations, when they're teaching CRT in the schools for children to hate themselves, when we're constantly taught that America and Christopher Columbus are the bad guys, when Native Americans are worshipped, when slaves are worshipped, when all the descendants of all these other like oppressed groups are worshipped, they're all allowed to advocate for themselves. How do you see an optimistic future for white people when it's only gotten worse and worse for white people?
I would say that I am in a unique position to push back against that, and that I do.
Push back. It doesn't matter if you push back against it. The entire culture is against you. So rather than you
But
doing
cultures
anything,
change. How long has it been this way for?
yeah, but what is the direction the culture's been changing? Are white people becoming more accepted? Like just a few years ago, it was considered a racist thing to just say it's okay to be white.
I understand that, but that's because white people have historically been the oppressors. But this is a oversimplified and ultimately racist anti-white way of framing things, and it's not good enough. And
Sure,
so I
but
can
what you
understand. I
just
can
said is the
understand. I can
mainstream narrative. You're saying that, and this is the problem, is
absolutely the
that all
mainstream
these
narrative.
ethnic groups,
I'll agree. The mainstream narrative
yeah,
needs to change. You want to
okay.
change the mainstream narrative to let's accept an ethno state, and I want to change it to let's stop being racist against white people.
Yeah, but nobody's going to do that because they've
Well,
already
no
accepted
one's
that
gonna
racism.
fucking do yours either. Mine is much
What
more
they
realistic
might,
than yours.
no, yours is
Is
absolutely not
I don't
realistic.
agree. I don't agree with
There's
that
a
at all.
whole history. You just stated it. You've already believed the propaganda, and now you're spitting it like it's an original thought. You bought into the system so hard. White people have a whole history of oppressing other people, which they do, and that's unfortunate.
Yes.
It's wrong. But that history is going to constantly use to justify the oppression of white people going forward. That history is not going to change. So why
I'm
would people change their view of white people going forward? Why do you think it's more realistic that we're
you
going to be
are
nice
not
to white people
your
in the future?
because you're not your collective. You are not your ancestors. You're
No,
not your
no, we are
race.
not our collective because white people aren't allowed to be collective. But
I
Hispanics
don't
are a
think any.
collective, black
Yes,
people
I
are
think,
collective, Asian people are a collective.
and I think
No?
we need to. Yeah, I don't think they should be, and I think
So
that
do you think that you can argue against Black Lives Matter? And you're going to say, well, black people aren't all the same, that can't be a collective?
I have, and I do.
But how successful do you think that is?
Um, how successful can I do it? How successfully can I? I'll say this. In my Black Lives Matter video, I've not received a single negative comment from a black
I
person.
don't care about your negative comments. Here's the reality. January 6th was compared by mainstream politicians to being on the same level of Hiroshima. And
Yes,
nobody will condemn
that's
the BLM riots that happened for 2 years that caused
you can
billions of dollars
you
of
can
damage in the United
condemn
States.
them, and I can condemn them.
But your condemnation is going to lead to a future where white people are oppressed and whose children are being oppressed, whereas I want a future where white people can carve out a
How does
small
my
area for
condemnation
themselves
of Black Lives Matter lead to a future
because it's
of white
hollow
people?
and empty and no one else agrees with you.
Well, that's why we need more people to stop being hypocrites and put our foot down and say stop being we have to reject all forms of racism Because
The
if we
only
don't,
way that you're going to do that is by at least meeting me halfway and saying, well, you should be at least able to advocate for the interests of white people. But if you do that, people are already going to declare you as
I
a
do,
Nazi.
but I'm a Jew, and I'm going to say, Mr. Spencer, I think I can help you with this, because they're not going to call me a Nazi. Nazis killed my family. They're not going to call me a Nazi if I say that white
They
people should.
absolutely could call you
Well,
a
fine, they
Nazi,
can
of
call me a
course.
Nazi if they want, but it's going to fall flat. Listen, if people can't convince the general public that I'm a pedophile, they're sure as fuck not going to convince them that I'm a Nazi. So I'll say, listen, you do whatever you want. If you think it's more realistic that you make a fucking a white ethno state in America, have fun. You already admit that you're losing ideologically and just in terms of sheer numbers. I think it will be much more easy as minorities rise to a more equal position in America to tell them to stop being racist to white people, and as white people diminish in power and size,
Where's the
I
evidence for this ever happening ever? Look at what's happening with women in college. Women are out graduating men 60% to 40% now. Do you hear anybody saying, "Okay, maybe women need to slow down. Maybe it's time to advocate for men"? Or look
I
at what happens when we talk about crack epidemics all
yeah,
over
I do.
these huge cities.
There are men's rights activists.
Where are the people
Absolutely.
talking about? Yeah, but MRAs are universally panned on the internet. They're seen as misogynists, right? Or look at
So
the
then let's
Midwest.
fucking
How long has
support
the Midwest
you.
been dealing
You
with things like methamphetamine and stuff? But nobody
wait.
seems to care about that.
Okay,
Nobody's talking about these issues as much as they do about issues relating to minority communities. And
I
for
think
some
that
reason, you
I
think
think that you and I are both in a position to put out ideas that will change these things.
okay.
I think you're too pessimistic. And I think Richard Spencer is super I think he's just so you're too fucking
I think he'll be
cynical.
super realistic. He'll say, "Why do you think that black people and Hispanic people are better than white people?"
They're not.
Okay, well, when white people historically were in power, they oppressed other minority groups. Would you agree that there's some oppression that exists even today in the United States against other minority groups?
I agree that if you have a group of black people who is able to oppress a white person, there is a very high chance that they will.
Yes, thank you. That's my entire argument. So
I
if we
agree.
give the majority power to these other groups, which is rapidly happening in the United States, they're just
Of
going to be
course.
oppressing whites like whites historically were oppressing blacks and Hispanics.
And I will say that my goal has been and always will be to try to get people to stop being racist. Not to stop being racist to me or to a certain group, but overall. And I'll
Okay,
say,
then you're
don't
gonna
you
be
think?
one
Don't
of
you,
the
I'll say,
farmers.
will you
Yeah.
concede that it would be better if nobody was racist?
It
That
would
the
be, but
idea,
that's not what's going to happen. You're going to be one of the farmers in South Africa getting killed by one of the black people taking revenge for what
and
happened
I'm saying that I
historically.
believe this so firmly that I would prefer that.
That's
I would
easy for you
prefer.
to say, but for
I would
those of us that
rather
have
die
families,
in a race war than win.
yeah, but some of us have children or families or friends that we don't want to see die in a race war. We'd rather all just move in Vermont and then like make like a white majority state and just have that area to ourselves. Why is that so wrong?
Because it's paranoid and it's cynical. And
How is it
it's and
paranoid when I can look
it's
around the world?
it's
No, you already
it's
agreed that there was an oppression. There was an attack against white people in the United States. You said that you've made videos
I
talking
don't think it's on
against
the
it.
level of a Holocaust.
Not yet.
Holocausts are not that common.
They're not, but it doesn't have to be on the level of a Holocaust. I think the
I just
BLM
don't.
riots
I just think
show
it's a.
how much damage could happen against white property without
I think it's
anybody
a.
caring about it.
I think it's a sad, depressing ceiling to put on our own growth as a species.
You can say that, but I think it's sad that white
People used to
can't
kill
just
each
have
other
their
for
own
being.
area.
People used to kill each other for being the wrong kind of Christian.
Sure, they did.
And in some
That's
countries,
all
they
the
still
stronger
kill.
argument that some of our in-group, out-group preferences can't be denied. It's a biological reality that, for some reason, white people are the only ones that can't take note of it.
Yeah, I think that they should be able to take note of it. But I think that we have
And
shown.
that's all I want. That's
think
all I'm
we
asking, just for us to be aware of it. That's it.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, then yes, I think we should.
Okay.
But from there, I think that my vision, even though it's more optimistic and more vulnerable, of moving past a world of ethno-states, that we have airplanes so people can fly around the world and fuck each other and change races and mingle in a way that we couldn't. So when this kind of thinking was dominant and like it would be unthinkable to challenge it,
Mhm.
we we can communicate better, we can intermingle better, we can travel better. I think
Okay.
it's almost inevitable that we're going to move past racism and ethno states. I would like to do it in the way that is the most um, ethical for everybody, including white people. And I think that you're trying to go back in time because you're just afraid you're going to get genocided.
Okay.
I don't think Richard Spencer's going to do the okay thing. You think he will?
No, he's gonna keep pushing in the same points because I think it sounds like you've lost the whole argument. Because you're basically saying like, well, I'm hoping for the future, but everybody that's like in the media environment around us is looking around and they're saying, "Fuck white people. BLM did no wrong. January 6th was like Hiroshima. South African black people are murdering white people as a response to
Yeah. So
apartheid.
I think
Secret team is being taught in school." So you're everything that you're saying is gonna sound like idealistic hogwash. Like, oh, he wants this
it is
racist free world, but
idealistic.
it's
I
never
think
gonna.
it's
Yeah.
idealistic, but I think it also might be actually more realistic. But I'm going to just say, I think
Sure.
if we hit this impasse, I'll say
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go to bat for anybody who is impacted negatively by racism, including white people, and I already have. This is already
Okay.
something I talk about in my work, and I will continue to talk about it, and I will continue to spotlight it, and that's why I'm here talking to you, because I care, and I think I can get other people to understand, and I think I can get them to care too. And if you are unmoved by this and you want to keep pushing for your retarded ethno state, go for it. Like, I'm not trying to talk you out of it. I think my way is better for everybody.
Okay.
And I don't think that I don't I think I'm in a position where I can advocate for disenfranchised white people without being called a Nazi.
Okay.
And maybe I'll ask him if he thinks I should do that, if he wants me to do it, if he thinks
Maybe.
there's a better way to do it. I don't know.
Well, listen, I'll probably watch. Wait, when is that conversation happening?
Friday at 9:30 Eastern.
Friday. What is today? Yeah, hopefully I'll be streaming, unless Melina really wants me to. We'll see.
Well, I am going
Anything
to
else?
record it. You can always watch it later
True, I could.
if you have a date.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll probably watch it on stream. Free content.
Yeah. Um,
Anything else?
I don't know. What about you?
I'm pretty good. I wouldn't want to. I don't want to get into any areas that I'm accidentally vulnerable in and I'm not aware of. So, probably good here.
Okay.
All right. Well, hey, I love you. Stay safe, buddy.
I
Be
love you
careful.
too.
See you around. Talk to you later. Okay.
Talk to you later.
Okay. Have fun. Bye.
Bye. What's the biggest wild animal you think you could beat in a fight? Haas. You're not suited to debate. Yeah, I don't want to debate him. I'm not trying to debate him. It's more like I just want to interview him. Do you think you could convince Richard Spencer to join the Rust server with you guys? No, I think he'll think it's a trap. No Collins. The sun He ate 24 slices of pizza. He argued passionately for white nationalism. Richard doesn't debate. Yeah, I don't want to debate him either. I just want to understand him. And I want him to understand me. Is Mr. Girl joining Destiny's Rust server? If I win, if I think I have to do the Halo tryouts first. So maybe. All right. Will I talk to Candace? Oh, fuck you. Fuck y'all. All right. Let's look at these. Let's look at these donations. JJ Ortega gave me $1. Thank you for doing what you do. I started following you with Destiny's first interview of you, and it feels good to see the misunderstood deep thinkers succeed for once. Don't let up. This content changes lives. Thank you. Ben gave me $5. Oh, shit. Ben gave me $50. Thank you. I appreciate it. Pet your cats tonight and tell them these pets are from Ben. Okay. So $50 at $10 a pet. And we can pet them 5 times. Bleak Lights gave me $5. As you grow, do you foresee yourself continuing your advice streams, or do you think there will come a point where your audience size and influx of callers will make it impractical to continue doing it, at least in the capacity you do it now? No, I think I'll keep doing advice and confessions. Yeah, I just think the mod team might need to adapt to more callers. But yeah, I mean, they're already like taking people aren't calling in live, like they're asking to speak in the Discord and then being put in a queue. So I don't think it will get too hectic. It might get like severely backlogged. I don't know how we'll handle that. Trinonymous gave me yet another $1. I don't have anything to say this time, but I didn't want to break the streak. Pepe wins. Thank you. I appreciate it. Daddy's Little Horse gave me $5. I could be wrong, but it seems very obvious to me that Destiny is hiding his emotions from himself. I think you should never stop bugging him about it. You might be the only person stubborn enough to get through. Good stream. Well, that's the plan. So, I appreciate that. And I appreciate you funding it. $5 more from Edge. Thank you. Hey, you got good stuff. Keep it up, kid. Thank you. I appreciate it. I just had a relapse as an alcoholic, but I'm happy I'm watching you at least, while in my shame pouring out the rest. Keep doing your thing. Your content makes me interested. Sincerely, In Your Wall. Take care of yourself. Is Mr. Girl, is Destiny advocating deplatforming in a way when he adopts the argument that you should push back or that audiences are too, I think you're going to say stupid. Yeah, go to therapy. Alcoholics go to therapy. And non-alcoholics. I don't know if he's advocating deplatforming, but that is one of the justifications for deplatforming. That like certain people can't be trusted to hear certain information without a certain context or guiding hand. I'm much more for everybody just like talking to each other freely, but I mean, I see why he's cynical. If my audience becomes more neo-Nazi as a result of this conversation, I will obviously be pretty upset. So I don't want that to happen. Impressionable, yeah. Do you personally identify with Counselor Troy as a fellow empath? Of course. Although I think Guinan is the real empath on the ship. I think Troy, I don't identify with her because she just turns into a child all the time. She's like walking around in that bodysuit like they're pajamas. I much more identify with Guinan. Mr. Go returns. Are you actually mad at Dr. K or are you just doing a bit? I'm actually mad at Dr. K and I'm going to do something about it, but I need to figure out how I want to approach it. I mean, in a video. I'm going to make a video about it. I'm going to express it somehow, but I'm not sure how. Can't I have sex with a conjoined twin if her sister doesn't want it? No, you can't. There's a popular right-wing tactic to go on shows and just read their points to farm people from that audience. Have you thought about that? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I assume that's why he wants to talk. Um, uh, I think I'm just against the idea that it has to be like you're in my camp or you're in his camp. Um, I'm hoping that I'm hoping that the overlap between our camps would still be a humanizing, empathetic, ultimately anti-racist and anti-violence place. But yes, I have thought about that. Um, yeah, I guess I've also gotten a few messages from people on the kill stream being like, "Hey, I know you think you lost that debate, but actually you really reached me and you spoke to me and like you've changed how I think about some things." So I'm hopefully it goes both ways. Are you ever going to have overlays on your stream, make it look more professional? I don't think so. Uh, have you watched any of Louis Theroux's documentaries? What do you think of his stuff? I haven't. I've been told to watch them, but I haven't yet. After a video on pedophilia, do you have any other subjects to tackle? I'm also working on a video about NFTs, uh, specifically Stone Toss's Flirks. So that might come out first. It probably will, actually. Um, hey guys, just promise now don't be Nazis, okay? I promise I won't be a Nazi. You need mods on your YouTube stream account before Friday. Last time it was a spam fest. Okay, I'll figure that out. Why is your chair so low? It's not. My desk is just super high. I should probably lower it. I kind of just like having a. It's a sit to stand desk, so it has like a crank. So sometimes I like move it up and down. Oh, you know why? Because if I'm recording raps and I'm standing, I want to be able to reach the keyboard. I think that's why I've arrived, like, organically arrived at this height. I can still reach the keyboard while I'm standing. Okay. Host a random Last of Us streamer. No. No, I don't think I will do that. I don't think I will do that. What did I get most out of my degree? I don't know. Statistics. Learning the basics of statistics and how to like critique a study, or like just not even like remembering all the formulas and stuff, but just learning how to take information and kind of like contextualize it and understand the ways that it might be misrepresented. Host Destiny, he's crying. I don't think he's even live. Host Infrared, no. I don't want, because that'll be seen as a hate raid. I can't do that. Wait, what? Why didn't that work? Oh. Wait, what? Why can't I see the... It says I have a raid in progress, but it's like not appearing. Did I do that wrong? Wait, I'm trying to raid Stardust, but it's not working. Did I do this wrong? Isn't the thing supposed to appear at the top? Yeah, I'm not gonna associate with infrared. I don't want to. Just because he fucking banned me. I rated her too much. Why isn't this working? Okay, is there a way to raid her through the Twitch website? Okay, is there a way to raid her? How do I do that? There's stream manager or something? Oh, what if I do it here? I already have a raid in progress. I don't know how to like complete the raid. This is so embarrassing. Says something went wrong. Try running that quick action again later. It's not letting me raid her. Well, shit. If anybody knows how to fix this, let me know. Unraid? How do you unraid? Is there a command for unraid? You can. Oh, host. It's not letting me do that either. The host is grayed out. Just try raid now. Now I can't click out of the like dialog box. Like won't let me close it. Unraid? That didn't work. Oh, cancel the... Oh, just unraid. I see, I see. Okay. All right, there we go. All right, be good to your anti-Stardust, everybody. Goodbye, horses.